podcast and I'm guesting on your podcast. This is like the perfect thing for my Libra mentality.
Yeah, right.
Because we've both met halfway. You know, your thing, my house. That's it.
Yeah, it's just
Balanced.
a beautiful...
The world, there's balance in the world.
It's a beautiful combination of energies. And something beautiful came from it, bro. Libra. Are you big on the... Do the traits of a Libra ring true for you?
They freak me out every time I see that shit. I wanna think that it's all complete bogus. But then I'll read something about myself from anything I ever read about that stuff. So it does like freak me out a bit. And there is part of me that thinks like, well, you know, if you get all hippie about it, which I guess we already kind of launched into that in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I'm already on that page, but you know, if the freaking moon can like affect the tides and we're like 80,
totally.
And what are we like 90% water or some ridiculous
like 80%
fucking thing?
Something.
I don't know.
Some massive majority.
Some
percentage.
amount of water, and if the I don't know.
I'm full of mostly hot air.
What do I know? All I know is that sometimes it freaks me the fuck out when I read about myself on those things. Or even just like your relationship with other people. You go, oh, you suddenly realize, oh, so many of my friends are Virgos or Pisces or whatever.
Yeah.
Like 4 of my ex-girlfriends have all been Pisces. What's with that?
Maybe
what's going on there?
Something fishy.
I don't read into it and then like think that I need to buy some crystals and like you know like completely live my life
What's this though?
based on all that stuff.
You got a big ass crystal right here.
Yeah, that's a big ass crystal. That's actually just salt. I just chip it off. I'm just a salt fiend.
Apparently it cleans the air. Is that true?
No, that's complete bullshit. But
Is it really?
It just creates a really nice light. Like it's a warm light.
Oh, it's a light. Yeah.
It is a mood light.
It's a good energy.
Well, I don't know. It's just a nice warm light. That is a mood light. If you want to just light up a room with one single light, make it a salt lamp, dude.
How expensive would it be to get a real rock of salt?
That is a real rock of salt.
Is that a real rock of salt?
It's a real rock of salt.
Oh, you can lick it and it's salty.
Yeah, do you want it?
Yeah. Because it looks heavy as fuck. I thought it was just a fake. Looks a bit dirty, but...
It's salt.
Yeah, it's very salty.
It's salt, man.
Shit. Have you ever chipped a little bit away when you're cooking a dinner and you're out of salt? And you're like, holy fuck, I've got a salt lamp. I can actually do that.
You know what? I've never thought of that, but there has been times where I've been out of salt, and had I thought of that, I would have just... It's probably like Himalayan rock salt or something.
Looks like it.
Well, I've started this off just sounding like a right massive hippie. Anyone who knows me is going, what the fuck is he on about? Like,
yeah. Are you though?
No.
I mean, labels. Who cares? You know,
yeah,
like whatever.
Right.
You've got certain beliefs, and they all tie into the being that is Dustin Stevenson.
The one thing I'm sure about is that I'm stardust.
Yeah, you're Stardust. Oh, bro.
I'm one with the universe.
Yeah. I usually feel pretty dusty after a big night. We are all stardust, bro. That's beautiful. But
Joni Mitchell said that. She said, "We are
really?
stardust. We are carbon. We are no, yeah.
No, wasn't it
We
Carl
are
Jung or something?
stardust. We are golden. We are billion-year-old carbon. And we got to get back to the garden, man.
Bro, how could you not be a hippie with that knowledge?
Right?
Like, the We Are Stardust sounds super, like, spiritual, but it's just actual fact.
Just something about it.
I mean, isn't just, like, I just look around and, like, everyone's, like, trying to be so grounded in reality and stuff. But it's like, there's just a massive, mystical, unknown aspect of it. Like, this is weird, isn't it?
I just love how we've launched straight for that. Straight for the shit that we have no idea how to answer or even talk about.
Why? Why did we go there instantly?
I don't know.
Because
I feel like we already did the warm-up.
Yeah.
Sat in the kitchen and already started talking smack.
Can I say thank you? Thank you for joining me on Talk with Yorke.
Talk with Yorke.
Woohoo! I got him, guys.
Wait, hold on. I got to do something. I forgot about the setup.
We're in your studio.
You got in touch with my people. My people, you know.
It was hard.
Worked out the calendar.
It was hard. You're a busy man.
They got on the thing. Spoke to the thing. We hooked up the thing. Couple of emails.
Yeah. I had to like...
Couple of TikToks.
A couple of TikToks.
Couple of Snapchats.
You should make... I feel like you're starting to go to a direction...
WhatsApp calls. Bit of Zoom. Couple of Zooms.
Gotta get creative with these things.
Anyway, the point is we pulled it off.
We made it happen. And you know what? It's for the people at home. That's what it's all about.
And it's, what is it? Midday? 12:30? 1 o'clock?
It's a good time.
It's a good time for a gin.
Cheers, brother. Thanks for the gin.
And what are we having today? It's the 78 degrees classic gin, Adelaide Hills Distillery. It's good. I recommend it.
It's not a sponsored post. This is just
Juniper.
Genuinely good shit.
Not a sponsored post at all.
Bye. It's good gin.
Yeah.
I've never been like a massive gin person, but not because it's like I don't like gin. I think it's just like it just wasn't in the culture of like what people were drinking around me. But and then there's that man. I actually went to get a bottle of wine the other day, and I was like, I'll get some red wine. And this real burly bloke's like, that's for girls. No, that's a true story.
Where were you?
I was just at some random like.
You were in Salisbury in the 90s. Like...
No, I wasn't. No, I was born in McLaren Vale in '94 though.
Ah, I was born in Aldinga in '89. I mean, I was born in Flinders, but I was living in Hackham West when I was a baby. But then we moved to Aldinga pretty quick. I grew up in Aldinga.
Always Adelaide.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Always Adelaide.
You got a lot of love for this place.
You were McLaren Vale.
I was born in McLaren Vale.
And then Yorke's.
And then Port Pirie. And then like my mum moved around. Like they were in New South Wales. Like my sister was born in like Woodonga and shit, and just sort of planting seeds all over the joint.
Planting seeds.
Yeah, my old boy's just planting seeds all over the joint. You know, spreading the seed around.
You got to be generous with that kind of thing.
It's in the DNA, isn't it?
It's in someone's DNA.
It's in someone's DNA. We got coffee as well.
We got coffee. Where? That one was mine, wasn't it? Or was...
We got a few vibes going on in the bloodstream right now, don't we?
I thought you had.
Oh, is that yours?
That's mine. Yeah.
Oh shit.
I think you.
I probably finished it, bro.
Probably left it in the kitchen.
To be honest, I probably finished it. But I think the point of this is like what I'm trying to get out and bring to the guys at home is someone like yourself. You know, you born and raised in Adelaide, which is fucking awesome. You've obviously been making music for fucking ages. You know, you've carved a name in Adelaide for yourself and also beyond. And
sometimes it feels like carving too.
Yeah?
Yeah, like with a blunt object.
Yeah. Just like in prison with a spoon.
Yeah, that's...
Every day take the painting off and chip a little bit away.
That is a great metaphor for life as a struggling musician.
In Adelaide?
Yeah, just trying to write your name on a wall somewhere with a frickin' spoon. And it's like concrete.
Like just going into a forest carving like DS loves LW and just hoping someone...
You come back and someone's graffiti over the top of it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it again.
Yeah, right. That's the vibe, eh?
That's good though.
I want to get to the bottom of like, because the way I met you was, just to clarify like sort of how we met, it was just through the Corona times. It was pretty crazy, and I just wanted some guitar lessons, and I'd seen you play the Grace and like heard you do your thing and sing and all the stuff, and it was really fucking awesome, and it was a good experience. And I thought, this guy's, you know, he's legit. He's a guy that he's a guy that's getting shit done. You know, he's a guy who knows what he's doing out there. So you were in my mind, hit you up. You're like, I've got nothing going on right now because Corona's basically fucked all the live music right now. So it was a perfect time for me to get a few guitar lessons off you. And then I was like, I need some recordings done. And you just happened to have this fucking home studio. And
yeah,
so
a lot of it's Stefan Houck's stuff.
Yeah.
I can't claim
Shout
that's
out.
mine, but
Shout
out to Stefan.
What a man.
But he's in here too. We're both in here probably about the same amount these days.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 3 or 4 projects going on in here at the moment. He's been releasing some videos where he like just does everything. So we got a drum kit over here set up, all mic'd and ready to go all the time, and like I don't know how many guitar amps, but everything's always kind of ready to go. So whoever comes in can just kind of launch into whatever is going on, as you've witnessed.
As I've witnessed, and it's been really fucking good. I guess I want to get to the bottom of sort of like your story. I think that's sort of like the point of some of these interviews I do is like to like almost go from the start and see how you got to the point you're at now, and then obviously talk about like what's going on now with you, because you're obviously, you know, frontman for the Wanderers. You know, you're a guitar, or you're a multi-instrumentalist, but would you say mostly you lean towards like singing and guitar playing? Is that?
Yeah, somewhere along the way I think singing almost took over. But yeah, definitely. I've always been a guitarist first and foremost. And then, I've always sang to accompany myself. But it was always like first thing I hear when I listen to music is the drums and guitar. And then last thing I listen to really is the vocals.
That's weird. I'm the same. I'm almost trying to retrain my brain to like, and obviously like, you know, we both write lyrics, but I'm like trying to, it's probably the last thing sometimes that I'm paying full attention to is the actual, like, I listen to the melody. That's way more.
Have you had that experience where you suddenly realise that a song that you've loved all your life, you've actually just listened to what the lyrics are for the first time and realised they fucking suck? You know, like I can't even think of any examples right now, but there's been a couple of times where I've kind of gone, oh yeah, fuck, I love this song. And it's like, shit, you know, I've realised I'm always listening to particular things every time in it. and I can, I know the parts that are coming up back to front, and then finally I go, shit, what's he actually singing about? Mm-hmm. And then, there's been a few times where I'm like, oh, fuck.
Don't like this.
God damn it, the lyrics are terrible. But even the other side of that coin is it's really nice to find out that a song that you never paid attention to the lyrics of, you've listened to your whole life, you suddenly realize, I don't even, what are they actually talking about? And then you realize that, like, the lyrics are unreal.
Totally.
And it fucking is up to the standard of, it's even better finding that out. That was creepy.
What? I thought someone was, like, so just for you guys, the door just literally opened itself.
Yeah.
Does that happen often?
Logan reckons it's haunted here.
There's noises happening.
But also it is really windy outside. There might be a few.
Yeah, but we're a couple of rooms in.
Yeah,
Ghostly stuff?
Who knows?
You said this. You did say this house is haunted, though.
I don't think
You've told me that. You don't think it is. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, I don't know. No,
it's hard,
interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Maybe after a couple of gins or get into it.
Yeah. Well, even to touch on what you were saying there, like what for you? Because I've had that experience where I've just like loved a song, something about it. I think that's with music. Hey, something can just resonate. You're not even sure why, and especially I think when I was younger, like I didn't maybe have the capacity mentally to like conceive of some of the lyrics I was even listening to and to fully understand. Yeah. And then you come back to it, like maybe like in your mid-20s or whatever, and you re-listen to those lyrics and you're like, whoa, like you start to understand it on a deeper level, and that's a beautiful thing.
But can I just make sure this is definitely recording? Because I'm pretty sure it is, but I just want to make sure
we're on.
We're still on. I can see the little.
We're looking A-okay.
Look at that. Beautiful.
That's so good.
All right. Let's get back to this. Sorry, back to your question.
And what have we got we've got the Three Amigos playing in the background.
Three Amigos.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's the one.
You just showed me that for the first time and I was enjoying it.
Mate, you have to watch that movie.
There's so many old movies. Like I feel like everyone's just like obsessed with like CGI and just like, insane quality these days.
This is like the stunts in this film are also there's people just being blown off the top of buildings. You're seeing them fly like 20 feet into the air. Like Martin Short, there's this thing where he gets like stuck up on this light. He's trying to do this big heroic swing across this courtyard to save this damsel in distress.
From Tarzan.
And he gets like stuck, and he's just stuck up there, and all the guys are down there trying to have like a gunfight or something, and he's just up there like hoping no one notices. But like he's fucking at least his stunt double is but actually up there, and there's none of that CGI stuff. It's like some of it looks like terrible, but it's like funny because it's a comedy as well. But it's
But it's also like it's sort of like interesting because that there's a certain way they had to make this. Like there was a different level of like creativity that went into thinking about how to make these things happen. These days it's like you can do it on a computer and it's sort of simple in that.
They don't go to as much effort, but I respect it when they do.
Right.
I like those times where they actually bother trying.
Actual makeup, like actual just physical makeup.
Yeah, they go for it.
So what was it like? Like you grew up in Adelaide. Like, what sort of art was, like, around you? Like, movies? Was that a thing growing up? You really loved movies?
Yeah, the Colonnades, that cinema in Noarlunga there. I guess so. I mean, they're all the normal things. Mm-hmm. I grew up watching a lot of the old Disney films, so... I think Mary Poppins is probably the thing I watched about the most when I was a kid. Wizard of Oz.
A lot of musical stuff.
The Sandlot kids. Shit like that. Oh man, it's just classic.
Yeah.
Sandlot kids. Watch that too.
Send me a link.
Three Amigos, Little Rascals, stuff like that. Loved it.
Do these all have a musical element? Because Mary Poppins.
Video Easy.
Did that influence like you to want to do music? Do you think? Or what was it?
What's the
earliest memory of like music for you? Like, was it just like listening to literally just tunes, or was it like watching a movie and hearing these musical things?
It's hard to say. Actually, I don't know. I've never thought about that. What was my first memory of like some sort of interaction with music or some experiencing it in a way that made me like perhaps was a profound experience. But yeah, I can't actually recall exactly what would be the first thing. All I know is that at some point my parents got me a little guitar, and I'm left-handed, so I think originally I was standing in front.
So you're a devil child.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm the evil twin. I killed the other one.
Because you're actually, that's a true story, right?
Yeah, he's somewhere.
Did you actually kill? Eat?
Well, yeah.
They eat sometimes, don't they? They consume.
Needed some iron.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So buff, bro.
Definitely not.
You got that. You got that second energy inside you, right?
That's it, man. It's actually all the squash.
that second energy.
Anyways, what were we talking about?
So you grew up. It sounds like you were just around. Like, were you like your parents? Like they're musical. So, I met your mum.
Yeah, she was.
She's cool, man. And apparently your dad's a big music guy.
Yeah. So my mum sang in a band that my dad managed. No, that's not how they met. They actually met. This is a real full circle thing. But they actually met at. There used to be a club in the St. Paul's building. Mm-hmm. So where Music SA and stuff is now.
Oh, that church.
That used to be a nightclub upstairs. Where my parents met.
Right.
And so my dad was like a squash guy about the town. I think he worked for SAFM at the time, and you know I think he was quite renowned with his squash clubs and whatever he had going on. Mm-hmm. So he thought he was a bit top shit hanging out in the club, and I think my mum impressed him by. Yeah, I think he asked her for a dance or something to like impress his mates, and then he won a bet or something, and then. Then that was it. But then the next week, I think my mum like pushed someone out. There's this story my dad tells about. He was dancing with a woman, and mum came over, remembered him from the previous week, bumped the other woman out the way, and said, "You forgot to get my number."
Fucking love that.
But that all happened at St. Paul's.
Wow.
And that whole building has been a big part of things that have happened in my career.
Totally.
So it's a real full circle thing. It's pretty interesting that like that one specific building where my parents met has been a place that's facilitated a lot of my career, next moves and that kind of thing.
And it's a church.
It's a church, apparently.
Weird spiritual interconnectedness of events.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows how many spiritual
weird
things...
synchronicity.
Arguably not too many spiritual things happened in a church. But
that's sort of cool though, man. That's a cool story.
Yeah, so my mum was in this... But prior to that, my mum was in the circus. So my mum was a singer. So I guess 13, 14, her and her sister had a duet called the Hamilton Sisters, and they would do like, I think back then you could do performances like you could. I mean, it's definitely not okay, like from a legality standpoint, but yeah, like the Crazy Horse.
You're talking to me.
Like strip clubs and stuff, they would have dinner and shows, so they would have performances. They would have comedians, they would have singers come out. Back then, they would just sing over like backing tracks. And do their little dance and their singing show. They might do that a few times a night. They would have the different, people would come in actually. Like the Crazy Horse would have the 6 o'clock session, 8 10, blah, blah, blah. And my mum, at one point, her and her sister, I think, they were doing that. But like not as they weren't doing the dancing thing. But they were part of that whole show. And then, I think they did all that kind of stuff, some corporate stuff here and there. My mum went to Japan, did the feathers on the head, cabaret kind of chorus line stuff.
That's amazing.
And then somewhere along the way, fell in love with a guy that was in the circus. She joined the circus. She became a trapeze artist.
Whoa, what a spirit.
And so she was like flipping around the sky without a net. Meanwhile, all my dad was doing his squash stuff, so he was like... But he always loved music, so he's a music fanatic. Big time. Loves it. Probably one of the... He would have to be the biggest Status Quo fan in the country, I reckon.
Wow.
I definitely grew up with Status Quo music. So somewhere along the way that, I guess the St. Paul's thing they met. Then, he got her to... either he got her to join this band, or I think they formed a band around her. Where the idea was that because she could... And she learned how to play harmonica for it. So I think my mum just liked trying new things by the sounds of it. Especially when I put it in context. It's kind of like she would be like, "Oh, there's that thing. That's what they do. So I can do that too." And then she would just smash it. So I guess with trapeze, joins the circus, becomes a trapeze artist in the touring circus. Has a tiger on her passenger seat in the truck while she's driving around the country. Yeah, because they all had to look after certain animals.
She had a tiger.
Yeah, so she was allocated to this tiger as part of her thing, and so it starts to make sense why I've got a bizarre concept of, my attitude towards
just like
life
what's possible and shit.
Like, just anything, you can just kind of go wherever and do whatever. It's all good. So I guess they formed this band, Benny and the Zoomers, I think the idea was like do corporate gigs and make some money.
Benny and the Zoomers.
Yeah, so my mum became this character, Benny. And, you know, she basically looked like Olivia Newton-John in Grease, where she comes out with the black leather.
Dude, I've got to get your mum on the potty, bro. What the hell?
Man, you should, actually.
Actually, that'd be crazy.
And so she learnt harmonica. She became a wicked blues harmonica player.
Shit.
And my dad managed the band. Oh, also, earlier, I didn't give my dad enough credit. He had a band, Belt Drive. They did...
Belt Drive.
They had
Loose Belt Drive.
Yeah. Belt Drive, yeah. Well, that's that new song by Old Mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They did a gig at Burnside Town Hall. And it was this epic success and failure at the same time, because I think someone stole all the money that they made from the gig and the band disbanded after the gig. So they did the one gig, but my dad was a bass player. But he liked...
So he did play. He did play music
with the pick, you know, do like the blues, the blues. Kind of. He was never like... he never dove into... you know, wanting to become an aficionado or anything like that. But he always just wanted to do a filthy shuffle with a pick on a bass. And he was good at that. So he was doing that. Yeah, then they formed Benny the Zoomers. They did that thing, and somewhere along the way, Mum got pregnant with me, and then she stopped doing the circus and the band and became an aerobics instructor and did all that kind of thing.
Man.
But yeah, so they were all, to answer your question, I was around music from a pretty young age, but I can't remember specifically a thing, because it's not like I was just, you know, one day suddenly exposed to music. I probably came out the womb to Rose Tattoo or something. You know,
Rose Tattoo, classic.
I don't know, like it, maybe not Rose Tattoo, but most definitely some Status Quo. And but it's funny. But music taste between my parents is different. So even though my mum did that band and she was actually doing like Rose Tattoo covers and Angels and the Divinals and stuff like that, but her actual taste is very different. I mean, I remember when I was in primary school coming home and she was just thrashing the shit out of that first Norah Jones record forever. Just and Shania Twain as well. From this moment, as long as I live, I will love you. Promise you did. There is nothing I couldn't give from this moment.
There we go. That's a little flavour.
Yeah.
Well done.
Obviously, you were around that one too, then.
That was my mum's wedding song. So, and it's just, I think it's a phenomenal,
it's a jam.
Phenomenal song.
Yeah.
So that's starting to, like, I guess, paint a picture in that actually makes so much fucking sense. I suppose. Because you never know when you get someone creative. Who knows where creativity comes from? You know, sometimes it is like, you know, culturally and in a family, and it's just this like almost genetic thing. And then sometimes it's just life experiences turn someone a certain way, and they turn to. No,
I feel like I had no choice.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they called me Dusty.
Yeah.
They literally were like, they were literally, and even in that, it's like
it's so metal, bro.
It sounds I don't know.
Rock and roll.
It's more country.
It's rock and roll.
Dusty Lee.
Dusty.
We're gonna sing a song now about whiskey. This is Dusty Lee.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Dusty Lee. I like to play some good old timey music for y'all.
That's right. I play the guitar.
I'm gonna gut down play this goddamn guitar for you.
Sit in my rocking chair and belt out a few tunes about my blue healer.
Well, I remember this song. I wrote this one in 1945.
Wow. Okay, so your parents were right into it, basically. And then you come out, little lad, you got a guitar when you were young, mucking around. And you've been in like, a bunch of different projects, right? Like, I was listening to some Skies on the way here. Oh, yeah. Because I just started, I didn't even realise that you were in how many other projects you were in. So what was the first...
Granny Flat.
First project. Granny Flat. Love that. I actually love that name. You're telling me
Flat.
That's a great name. And that's a high school project? But that you actually got a bit of traction with Granny Flat, right? Yeah, how did that start? And like,
I don't know. It was actually, I remember orientation day. So I went to Aldinga Primary School. And I lived right across the road from it on Quinlivan Road in Aldinga. And, you know, I'd walk to school every day. I was the only kid with a guitar. I was like to half the kids it was really cool. And to the other half the kids it was fucking lame.
Oh, really?
You know. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Udinga.
You play electric at this point, or
what? This probably just sums it up perfectly. Like I wasn't cool at all until in primary school. Until year 7 one day, we went to the shops and I brought a pair of Dada pants and a Wu-Tang jumper. And then for the rest of year 7, I was a cool kid.
Right, because you were repping the Wu-Tang.
That was all it took.
That's all it took the whole time. Like, shit,
and even the guitar playing, everything was still fine.
Yeah.
Once I was wearing my Dada and Wu-Tang, it was all good.
Didn't matter what you were doing behind the scenes. As long as you were repping the right fucking...
Seriously, I literally remember rocking up to school in Dada pants. Rocked up to primary school in Dada pants. Bright yellow ones. And instantly got props.
So you went through the rap phase as well?
No,
you've got an eclectic
taste. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's more later. Oh no, I mean, it was Eminem for me. Like I knew all the words to Purple Pills and Lose Yourself and the Haley song. I don't know why. I still know all the words to the Haley song, but yeah, Eminem was the thing, man. Totally,
big time.
But I never dove. It was my appreciation for hip hop has come in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
like properly. I think people love that thing, especially then as well. And especially the outer suburbs and that sort of thing, they could really connect with the message of that kind of stuff. You know, Eminem's singing about growing up in trailer parks, and I guess there was some people who were attracted to the idea of that being somehow similar to their situation, even though really we're doing all right.
We're all doing okay.
You live in Udinga, like, you know,
we're all doing okay.
Fucking near the beach, you're doing all right.
The baseline's not that fucking bad, really, is it?
No, but you know, people I think there was some parallels that were perhaps drawn. You know, it was definitely a different Udinga. 90s Udinga was a lot different to now Udinga. I go down there, you can get like an oat latte and, you know, look at some fine art on the street.
Right.
You know, that shit was not around when I was a kid.
It was Wu-Tang and Dada fucking.
It was fucking Wu-Tang Dada. So like.
But you loved growing up in Udinga, like in the south?
Yeah, I did. Totally. Yeah. It was, you know, you'd just go out, get your skateboard or your bike, go to the Simmons Reserve skate park and till nighttime, come home, have dinner, do your thing. I'd wake up 10 minutes before school and be there on time because the pedestrian lights were right outside my house. Right,
it's just that suburban type of energy, community.
All your friends lived around the corner.
Yeah,
it was great.
And then Granny Flat happens,
and that's high school. So before that, getting to high school. So I went to Brighton secondary school, and I wasn't zoned for that. You don't go to Brighton if you're in Udinga.
Right.
I was supposed to go to Wollonga High School, and that's where all my friends were going, and that's where I wanted to go. And I like this story because I can actually trace everything that's going on in my life back to seemingly. I mean, there's obviously a whole string of moments where I've pivoted in different directions, but this was one major one. And it all comes back to... I never used to take my newsletters home from school. If you're in primary school, they give you the fucking newsletter, like green. Like a green printout newsletter.
Like 2-3 pages.
Yeah, and it's got like some bullshit on it. Oh, you know, there's a family, like the parent-teacher thing, or there's this coming up, or there's
some event. And...
that day, or the dental van's arriving on this date.
Yeah.
You know, like...
They'll teach you how to wash your hands and shit.
Yeah. I never took that shit home, but every now and then it had crucial information in it.
Would you just burn it?
No, I just
fuck the system,
they'd
bro.
give it to you in school, and I would just like not put it in my bag.
Rebelling from an early age.
Oh, it wasn't even specific. Like I didn't
care.
Didn't care about it, so I didn't think, oh, that's something I need to take home. But I think it pissed off my mum a bit because there was a couple of times that she missed out on some crucial information. So I think it was the first time that I actively went, okay, I'm gonna bring home the newsletter for mum.
Just for mum.
Just for mum.
Oh, good on mum.
And I did, and in it there was a Brighton Secondary School would put out ads for music or special interest music auditions. And so she saw that, and then she booked me in.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because you typically would never have brought that newsletter home.
She only saw that in the newsletter.
So if it wasn't for her,
if it wasn't for me bringing it,
if it wasn't for yeah, right. But if she didn't care so much.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what? Then that's this.
It's not like I read the newsletter and saw that. It's you know, I brought it home to her and she saw it, and so then it was like you get an oral
presentation.
Oral. That's the one. Yep. Don't want to get those two confused.
Is that the same word?
Oral is.
Oh, audial.
Yeah, oral. It's just oral. Oral exam is when you're like.
Is it AU?
AU.
Audio.
Yeah. And oral,
up here for thinking,
it would be like a monologue, I guess.
Got you.
Or something very sinister.
Something very sinister behind the curtains.
Yeah. Yeah, parents don't go to that one. No. Oh god, I'm sorry.
It's called swingers. It's called a swingers party, people.
No, we're talking about year 7s here. That's not.
We're talking about the parents. We're talking about the parents.
I'm sorry.
The parents.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Look, I was watching Mel Brooks movies.
I was banging at 14.
We got. That fucking went south quick, man. All right. Anyways,
you don't have to join me on this level.
What was I going? So no, I had a completely safe audition.
Yeah.
Of the oral kind at Brighton, and I think that's just like they play a fucking tape or whatever it was with notes on it, and then you've got to kind of. I didn't have any theory knowledge, and I was playing guitar at the time and a little bit of drums, but because my oral abilities were so good, like I could distinguish between the intervals of the notes. They did it in such a way where you didn't have to know any theory, but you just had to identify like kind of the steps that you were hearing.
Cool. So were they maybe trying to assume that some of the kids might be super talented but might not know
theory? There might be some kids who were learning theory who had no oral abilities. Yeah. And there needs to be kind of a balance of both.
So you had a good ear.
Yeah.
At that point already.
I had a really
good
ear.
A lot of music.
I think I aced the oral thing.
Cool.
So then I got the second audition callback and I came in and I remember I learnt Scuttle Button by Stevie Ray Vaughan. No. I learnt Stevie's Blues by Tommy Emmanuel. I did that as my first audition piece. For the second one, I did a medley of Sweet Home Alabama and Stairway to Heaven and Pride and Joy, Stevie Ray Vaughan as well.
So you weren't fucking around at this point.
I was giving
you were already diving into some decent stuff.
And then yeah, I got in. And even still, I didn't want to go. I wanted to go to Wollonga. But my mum was like, no, you got to do this. So for the whole of year 8, I was catching 2 trains from Aldinga. A bus and 2 trains from Aldinga to Brighton every day.
Right, a bus and 2 trains.
And I was still playing footy for the Aldinga Sharks and doing taekwondo 2 nights a week as well. It was it was a pretty hectic year.
Right. So you had that mix of like your dad's like sportingness and then
it was
formative stuff. And
it was a lot of it was footy. I grew up as a footy kid.
Cool.
But yeah, anyways, that's another thing. But yeah, so then orientation day for Brighton, I met these kids that I ended up being in a band with. Because I remember, I didn't really know who to hang out with. There was this girl, Camilla, and I became friends with this guy, Damon. They were like my friends on orientation day. You know? This kid from Hendon and this girl from Noarlunga, and she was a bass player. And then year 8 came around and we was like, hey, we remember you from orientation day. And then so me and her and this other dude, Josh, he's the guy who runs Space Jams now.
Oh, Josh Morfitt?
Yeah, Josh Morfitt.
Shout out.
And so we all became friends, I guess. And then I invited them all down to my granny flat out the back of Aldinga and we started having a hit.
Gotcha.
And I think we booked a gig like straight away, or we had a friend who had the community centre, who was doing something at the community centre. So they booked us to play.
That's sick.
And we did a cover of In the End by Linkin Park.
Yeah. So good. so good.
Mate, it was classic.
So typical of the times.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Put your own twist on it.
Probably not.
Bit of a vibe, just stock standard.
I remember
just get through the fucking...
I played the piano part.
Yeah.
I still remember the words.
Right. Because you're a half decent pianist as well.
Give it a go. That was my second or third instrument at Brighton. But once I got into Brighton, I realised that I got in on guitar, but then once I was there, they didn't need any guitar. Like, they didn't need a guitarist. There was one guitarist in each year.
Brighton didn't need a guitar.
No, because it's all jazz and classical. So in the jazz, there's like one person who can do it, and Josh ended up being like the guy getting he got the for the jazz band. They've got the swing band and the whatever swing band and the stage band. So the younger year levels was swing band, and Josh was the guitarist of swing band, because he already had theory knowledge and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Plus he's really good.
Which for jazz.
Yeah, perfect. Right? Yeah, and also they needed drummers, and for whatever reason in my year level, I think it was one of the. Yeah, there was no one else really giving it a proper go at drums. So once I got there, I started doing drums, and I picked it up real easy because I've got a good ear for music and for rhythm and understand.
Timing.
I already had a drum kit at home. I've been playing a lot, so I kind of became the drummer of my year level, and studied
drummer boy.
Yeah, so I actually studied drums before I'd even studied guitar. Even though I'd been playing guitar since 6, I just always had just played guitar, but I actually studied drums.
Right.
So that's, and then, so we formed Granny Flat. So then, in Granny Flat, I'm playing guitar and singing, and we started writing songs. We went in this Battle of Bands competition, we won it. Then Triple M and Today Tonight did this thing where Today Tonight heard about it, and they did a story on us, and they got us into Triple M, and they started playing our music. But yeah, Today Tonight came to our houses and interviewed our parents and all that shit. They came and filmed us do a gig at the Bridgeway Hotel, and all that shit was happening real early.
So how affirming was that as a young lad, in your early teens or whatever? Obviously, there's a lot of people playing music and doing that sort of stuff, but then to actually win the Battle of the Bands and then have that interest from the local sort of news stations and things like that as well. How affirming was that? Was that do you remember that being really affirming for you, thinking cool, I'm on a good path here, or did you always feel music was the path for you?
I always knew that music was, and that definitely reaffirmed it. And it also made it seem really easy, to some extent. The first band I had, the first gig,
first competition, first gig. News is rocking up at your door. Yeah,
Triple M was playing our music. We did, we did a gig with Vanessa Amorosi at Thebby Theatre, and then her manager was he's I work with the Paul Wilshire, the guy who does all the Backstreet Boys records, and so they fly us to fucking Sydney, and we're working with Sony on that.
And you're how old at this point?
15, I think, by that point.
Okay.
And so then
it's like Silverchair or something, isn't it? These real young bands.
Yeah, kind of. Except our idea, we pictured it as this growth thing. We wanted to be fucking Jet, man. Get Born came out. We're we want to play some fucking rock and roll, But when we were 13, the first single we released is a song that we wrote as a joke, but because we were kids, people took it as that we were singing about our lives. We wrote a song called "Son, You're Grounded" because we had a friend who couldn't rock up to these parties we were having because they were grounded.
Right.
So we wrote a song called "Son, You're Grounded." It was this tongue-in-cheek thing. Cat Empire had Hello, and they had that album out. And they were kind of doing that half rapping thing, so we kind of did that, but it was a joke,
right?
We had a sense of humor at that age,
of course.
But then it was cute. People heard it. These little kids rapping about being grounded.
Loved it.
It's fucking lame, man. It is so bad.
Is it the chats singing I'm on Smoko, so leave me alone, or
but that's
I want
cool,
a pub feed?
That's at least.
But it's
edgy.
still tongue in cheek.
It's
super tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it's tongue in cheek,
but it just takes traction.
It's hard to be tongue in cheek when you're a 13-year-old. People think that you're singing about your life.
Is it just automatically
People didn't take it as tongue-in-cheek. They thought it was cute.
That seems backwards to me. It seems like you would more expect, people who've had more live experience stuff to be delving deeper into... I suppose you've got the teenage angst aspect of being a teenager and stuff. Maybe just people assumed that there was angst behind it.
People just thought that we were singing about being grounded because that was our experience, because that was our age.
Right.
Point is...
Love it. You're doing levels ahead of that shit though.
Well, I'm okay with that existing at the time, because we were 13, we were at the beginning of the band, and that's
success.
We did a video clip where we all look nervous. And,
is that on YouTube?
It's somewhere. But
is it not on YouTube?
Oh no, you can.
I want to look that up, bro.
Find it. It's on your ground.
That's fucking funny.
But point is, this fucking Sydney thing with Sony, we get there and we've come in with all these new songs. This guy Paul Wilshire, he's doing great. He's got a company called Songwriter now, and he's you can go in there and upload music, and you can have it in TV shows and assigned to different ads and commercials and things like that. You can get sync, and you can get emails about specific things that are needed. You can write songs for these things. So he's done a great job, and he's really found his thing. But our experience together was very different. We kind of go there. It was my first time going into a big studio, but I knew even at that age I wasn't a sucker, and I didn't want to be fucking have someone tell me what we need to do, whatever. So I actually ruined that whole thing for it. We could have had a record deal with Sony at that point.
Right.
And I ruined it. And I've got no regrets about that.
No, I was gonna say maybe because for the best.
Well, for us to attain that deal, we would have had to have completely lapsed and let go of any integrity that we had. And at that point, even as fucking 15-year-olds or whatever, we had a vision, which was to not be seen as kids anymore. So we come in here with these new songs. We've written about these more metaphorical things and life, cryptic
concepts.
stuff, and like maybe it's still not that great, but
Being a
it's
Pisces, like...
definitely more mature than the shit that we're writing about being grounded. And anyway, we do that. We present these songs. We're like,
you're artists, you're young artists.
And you're trying to, yeah. And then like, cool. How about we do that one about being grounded? Right. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, well, the recording you guys did of that wasn't that good, and that was a while ago, and I think that could be a big single for you guys. I was like, we already released that like 2 years ago when we were like 13.
Yeah, right.
And so then they made us fucking re-record that song, and we did it in this big studio.
Oh.
Everyone's supposed to be like, and we didn't even play that song in the set anymore.
The whole band was on the same page of like, this is not really what we want to do.
I think the others were like, let's just go with it.
Let's just make some.
And I was the arsehole, I was like, this guy wanted to, and looking back on it, he was totally right. Like, he wanted to change the bridge and add chords in and make it more interesting and different, and I was just being, I had such a stubborn view of what, the song had to be that way, and it's like, but it's like 4.5 minutes long, and there's, gaps of fucking rounds of 8 bars of nothing, like, for no reason. I'm like, fuck you, that's how it is, I remember having, like...
This self-indulgent fucking...
Oh, yeah, and I remember even having screaming matches with our manager, who was Josh's dad, actually, like, on the way back from there, and he, like, really shut me down. And for, it was one of life's lessons.
Humbled a bit.
Even just in that. Yeah, humbled a bit, for sure. And so in some ways I was right. I don't regret that. I regret the way I did it because it was a bit cocky, but I at least knew that I had more integrity than what we were being allowed to have. And I'm like, we aren't this song. We aren't this fucking thing,
And obviously,
I don't want to be... Hanson were like 5 years earlier with Mbop. I didn't want to be another Hanson.
You felt like you were doing Mbop.
Almost. Yeah, I feel like we were fucking doing Mbop.
That was your Mbop. The grounded song was your Mbop.
Sonia Grounded. And then, we ended up doing this shit. And then a whole other round of shit started happening. We ended up in doing...
So did Sony, like, drop you, like, what happened?
We just didn't sign with them. And we ended up signing with this label in Wollongong. There was this big...
Fucking Wollongong, man. Got a scene there, eh?
Musicals awards. There were these big... national awards, and we ended up winning Artist of the Year, I think, or we were nominated for Artist of the Year. And the other artists that were nominated was Blue King Brown, and I think Cog.
Oh, love Cog.
Yeah, and Cog played, Lior played, Blue King Brown played. Butterfingers were nominated. There was like
crazy company to be in.
Yeah, it was
for like
nuts.
A 15-year-old.
Yeah, and we were probably 16 by this point. But...
Right. Yeah, still.
And we fucking performed, man. So we on stage at the Wollongong Entertainment Centre, and for whatever reason, I used to wear like an AC/DC shirt and tails, like a tuxedo jacket with.
But it was tails. Like, okay, yeah, love that. That's I need to fucking see a photo of that, bro.
And
that's amazing.
I didn't know, man. I had no idea. There's this great photo. Our drummer was like 2 years younger than us too. So when the band started, he was 11, and it was Josh's little brother Michael, and he
Wow.
So there's this great photo where Michael's. I think he might have been wearing one of my tops, or it was a top someone bought him, but it's this AC/DC top that actually came down like to nearly his knees. And where they're receiving this award, like it's huge. Like like Dylan Lewis was the presenter, and he used to obviously do fucking what was that show? I don't know. Dylan Lewis is old school.
He didn't do Countdown.
No, that's Molly Meldrum.
I've got no idea.
Dylan, Recovery. Dylan Lewis. And the guest speakers were different. It was a big thing. It was fucking huge. Like the production was crazy. And when we performed, there was like cranes, like cameras coming at us, and I've experienced that stuff since. But experiencing it at that age was pretty wild. And I remember even backstage, like the Cog guys talking to them and stuff like that.
Oh, mental. So jealous.
But yeah. So that they had like this National Music Awards thing, Musicals. They also had a record label, and they had a wicked studio in Wollongong. So we went and recorded some stuff there, and I've never heard it because soon after we did it, and we actually signed to this label, and like a week later, the whole thing folded, like the whole label.
Well, the company just actually shit itself.
Yeah, now that I've realised I've had these things happen a few times throughout my career. Yeah. Most recently with the coronavirus as well.
Yeah, and that's a big one.
And it's a big one.
And we'll get to that one for sure.
We'll get there. We're working our way up.
We're working our way up, man. It's a bit of a journey. Right, so So then what happens? I mean, and just to go back, because I just wanted to say, like, just like what you were talking about with standing your ground and talking about integrity, and like, of course, like, at that age, you're not going to have probably the self-awareness, the professionalism to really like communicate what you're trying to say in a way that you can get what you still want. But like, I think that's dope. Like, I do think that's great that you had that artistic integrity to go.
You can tell when people are going to work with you on your vision.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Shouldn't Sony have tried to like respect the fact this dude's super creative? This dude's like clearly got an artistic vision and try to work with you.
No, because we would have been a product for them.
Of course, but isn't there a balance? Like even you say like with management now,
there is a
balance,
corporate
and the creative.
There is a balance. That's the ideal scenario, right? But when you realize that you've been called
big dogs.
No, but you've been called in. Not like when you realize that the other side of it, the power, the B side of it, isn't interested in finding the middle ground. They're not interested in understanding your vision. They've got their idea of what you can become or what they can make you, and that's up to you whether you. I reckon it's probably happened with a few artists over the years where they've gone, have me, do what you want.
Have your way with me.
I honestly think that would be like the Keshes of the world, you know, that have probably done really well from just saying like whatever, let's
mold
go.
Me,
like,
yeah,
and the ones with more integrity, it's like I think it's a bumpier road, but at least you're fucking driving.
That's right, yeah. At least you got your hand on the wheel.
Yeah, I'd rather be at that than on a bumpy road with someone else driving. You don't even know where the fuck you're going.
Some maniac. He's had a couple of gins. Doing 150 and 100.
He's driving really fast. He's gonna get to the destination real quick.
Yeah. But it's so fast, you're not actually going to be able to take in the journey.
You're going to take in the journey. And then when you get to the destination, you're going to have to leave straight away. Because you realise they didn't even make a booking.
That's like the whole touring life, isn't it? It's like you're visiting all these hotspots around the world, but like a lot of the times you don't even get time to absorb any of it. You're just like on the clock and you just like...
Yeah.
You got to make money and you got to do it.
Bit of that.
Right. So you go through that experience. That must have been a bit of a shaping experience or a telling, like now thinking about it, as far as the direction that you were going to go. You'd obviously made it pretty clear at that point, even to yourself. Like, you can look at yourself in the mirror at that point and go, cool, well, there's a direction I'm starting to set up for myself, and it's a bit more...
Maybe. I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew what I didn't want.
Gotcha.
So I still didn't know actually what my path or my legend or whatever, what it looked like. Like, I didn't know where the olive branches went or where they even were. But I knew where they weren't.
And how good, though, to have those experiences.
Well, at least I knew I wasn't going to be... that was the greatest thing about that whole experience is by the time I got to fucking... having... It was a while again after that before I actually had an original band and tried to make it happen. I was probably like 4 or 5... got to 21 or something and started doing it again. And once I was doing it again, I realized the other people around me that were my age that were giving it a go, they were learning the same fucking lessons that I learned when I was like 15, 16 years old.
Big time.
They were believing the same bullshit, getting suckered into the same stuff, and just like making mistakes that I know that I wouldn't make now. So,
and that shit's been going on.
I was like hardened. I was hardened pretty quick. So I never had to go through like some learning curve of like trusting the wrong people and all that kind of shit, because I'd already done all that. Like it was fine. So I learned all that shit real young. Yeah, and then I guess we've rounded out high school, finished it up, and you get into girls and discover partying and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Somewhere along the way, I started teaching guitar at this guitar school in Wollonga, Academy of Rock.
Right. Shout out. Are you still going?
No, because the teacher ended up being discovered with a whole bunch of child porn.
No! Oh, dude.
Not good.
It's so fucking common, bro.
The whole thing derailed very, very ugly.
My lord.
In a very ugly way. Anyway, that's another story. But
it's a terrible man.
I worked there for a while, and I was pretty young when I started there, so it's questionable.
But you never experienced anything untowards.
No. And no one did like there was not like a
it was
right.
It was just more in his head.
I don't want to go too far into it, but that was a shame for sure.
Right.
But anyway, that was something I was doing. I was teaching, and then I auditioned for this comedian. Do you remember the RAA ads where there's that guy, and what was he fucking saying? George Capanaris. I can't remember what he says in the RAA ads, but he was always like, Trevor! Like, I don't know, he said, this was some fucking guy, Trevor, and he's always complaining about his insurance or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was quite a well-known ethnic comedian. Uh-huh. He was in a show, I can't remember what it's called, but whatever. I auditioned to, he was doing like a run of fringe shows, and needed a guitarist to be part of his show. Like, you're not playing guitar for a show, but you're actually part of it on stage, wearing like an outfit. At one point, I had to pretend to be that Corey Delaney kid.
Oh, that guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
Who threw the party.
So I came out with like with a jacket, with a furry jacket, with no shirt underneath.
Oh shit.
With like the fucking sunnies on.
Yeah, right. Bit of acting.
Yeah, like a
Testing
little bit of
chops.
that.
Yeah.
So I got that gig, and that was the audition.
Fuck, what an icon.
The auditions for that.
I could interview him. Don't worry about you.
I'll fucking get him on. The auditions for that were at a place called the Cavern Club.
Right. So that sounds like a bit of fun.
Cavern Club is where Fat Controller is now.
Gotcha.
And that used to be a Beatles themed club. Like, it was Beatles memorabilia right through the whole place.
See.
Band called the Fab Four were playing there like multiple nights a week. And they would just do gigs like that. They were doing like tribute shows and that kind of thing.
So you're still playing a fair bit of music as
I was
well?
teaching.
Uh-huh.
I'd left Granny Flat by this point, or I'd like, that was ugly. Just disbanded in this way where I just ejected myself without really even telling anyone.
There was just a difference of like direction.
I just couldn't handle confrontation or something, but
yeah, no, fair enough.
It worked out. They worked out pretty quick that I wasn't doing it anymore. So yeah. Anyway, audition for this thing. So I met this guy Andy, and then he was in the Fab Four. Eventually, I ended up being in the Fab Four as well. So I was playing the part of George Harrison and the Beatles from Liverpool.
You still got it, bro.
Singing songs like "Here Comes the Sun" and "While My Guitar Quietly Whimpers."
Wow, you've still got it.
It's a great record. Great. Abbey Road, I think, is probably the best. You know. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, the medley.
This is another career for you, I reckon. Perhaps.
He's having a fucking
George Harrison impressions.
All right.
What a man.
George, you know, he was always calm and polite.
Good memories, eh?
One of the nice guys, you know. Paul's always out there like, oh, look at me, I'm Paul.
Oh my
God.
You
know, John, he can be a bit of a cunt sometimes if you ask me.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so we were doing that.
Yeah, right.
So from that, my first gigs with that were in Darwin. And we just fucking launched in, man. It was like me and this guy, Andy, clicked real quick. We were really good friends, and then next minute, like, we're in Darwin together doing these Beatles shows, these sold out shows at this club. And then
you're a Beatles fan, like you obviously.
I wasn't massively before that. I had to learn the whole Beatles catalogue for that. And I tell you
the whole Beatles catalogue.
There is nothing. Well, I mean, essentially. I mean, I guess at first it was
the
like
essentials.
Learn these 30 songs, and then they start adding more songs.
And learn these 30 songs.
Yeah. But learning, a side note, learning the Beatles songs, I would advise anybody to dive in and learn that shit, like, and learn how to sing it, learn how to play it, because that is gonna, what you learn about songwriting, because they never wrote the same. They didn't go, oh, here's our system,
here's our formula.
Or if you learn just a bunch of Beatles stuff from different records, over the course of doing that for however long, you've learned how to write a hugely diverse range of stuff.
You just pick it up.
You learn how they did it, and it opens up neural pathways so that you can do it yourself.
For sure, it was like we were doing that song not long ago, and I was like, go to the D7 or whatever it was, and you're like, that's totally a Beatlesy like vibe.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, well, I must have picked it up from just like learning a couple of their songs, and it just seeps in.
Yeah, it opens up the ideas of where things can go.
So you're a travelling troubadour actor.
So we'd done some touring a little bit with Granny Flat, and then with Fab Four, my first gigs were in Darwin for like 2 weeks. I'd never even been to Darwin, and then we're there, and it's fucking party central, man.
Darwin, dude, Mitchell Street was like shit.
Oh, and it was like the
tourists everywhere, and like backpackers.
It was mostly Europeans and
heaps of French and German.
I didn't meet hardly any Australians, and we'll do these shows, and then just like kick on.
Like, I can imagine. That was free spirits, eh?
It's just funny that my introduction to that, I guess, the rock and roll lifestyle was in a Beatles tribute band.
In Darwin.
That's
so good.
And then through that, we did shows with symphony orchestras, and we were playing in...
Yeah, right.
We did stuff up in Queensland. We went to Singapore, and... Yeah, we...
So you're getting paid decent, like, for all this crazy stuff?
That's why I did it, too, because, like... I had to be, like, out of high school, I didn't have, like, qualifications. I didn't get a TER. I passed year 12. I got my SACE. But I didn't get a TER, and I wasn't planning on going to uni. Even to study music, I had no interest in
continuing that.
Well, not in that way. I didn't want to. I knew I was going to keep playing music. I never had a doubt about that. I knew it would work out somehow. And the first way that it worked out was that it got me a teaching gig. I didn't need credentials for that.
Totally.
And I was alright at it. Had 30 students a week. And I just kind of walked into that because someone else left. That was actually really funny because there was one day, I remember one specific day where I was like, my mom's like, no, you really, it's year 12 to finish. Summer was nearly over, so it had been like 3 or 4 months where I still just kind of bumming off my parents. Yeah. And they're like, no, you really got to fucking get a job. Alright.
Good on him.
I'll look for a job today. But first I'll log into MySpace.
Yeah, right.
And I logged into MySpace.
What was your MySpace opening song?
No, I can't remember. But there was a fucking...
Mine was Lollipop by Lil Wayne.
I don't think we even had that shit back then. I think that was like a later MySpace thing.
Right, yeah, okay, gotcha.
But I logged in and I had this message from this guy like, hey, do you want to come work for this music academy?
Just like that.
That was the day that I was going to start job searching.
Right, so it's one of those like weird synchronicity stories where these things all line up.
That's the story of my life, those kinds of things.
I know.
But that happened. I did that. And while I was doing that, I was like, this opportunity to do this corporate thing, the Fab Four, came up. And at first, it wasn't actually. I think I was probably being gypped at first. It was $250 a gig, and I was like the young guy. Then once I realized what they were meaning, some of these gigs are paying $5 or $6 grand. I'm like, how am I fucking doing 4 hours worth of work and only getting paid that much?
Jeez, yeah.
So then at some point, I think I said I was going to leave, and then next minute I'm on $600 a gig or something.
Right.
So
you have to earn that respect almost, like in a weird way. You have to pipe up.
No.
You have to speak up for yourself.
I just have to say something.
Yeah.
People will take advantage until you say something.
But a lot of people wouldn't, you know what I mean? But a lot of people are too like.
By the way, I love the guys in that, and I don't hold any whatever. I don't think that it was like some evil, sinister
maniacal
thing. But there's some amount of it like
we'll underpay the boy.
Yeah, but I mean, to some extent, if I never said anything, I'm sure they would have been happily still only paying.
Of course, that's business, isn't it? That's showbiz.
But once I realized, all of a sudden, then I was on this percentage cut on the gigs. So I'm like 20, and I'm doing these gigs, and this guy hooked me up with these fucking solo gigs at the Ed. I was going to the Grace on Monday nights just as a punter. So I met Billy Bob and all that stuff. Somewhere along the way, we became mates, and he called me. And then when Salvi left, I joined the Barbecue Boys. So then I was doing the Barbecue Boys on Monday nights.
How long's that been around, the barbecue?
Oh, that's been going for
like the 3 a.m.
15 years or something. I've been doing it for 8 years now.
Like for anyone who hasn't, like anyone who loves music and live music and hasn't been to the Grace it's a Monday night. And I don't know, is it still going right now? But before COVID, I'm sure it'll come back when things start to normalise.
Yeah.
But basically, I went to the Grace for the first time. Actually, you were there, and at 3, and it's just live music. People are rocking up. The live band, dude. The fact that you can go as sort of just a singer songwriter or whatever, and have a massive band behind you and hear what that feels like.
Did you do that? Did you get?
Yeah, I did, and it was game changing. I was like, holy fuck! Like, I've never experienced that. And then,
did I play with you that night?
No, Billy Bob did, but like you were there that night.
Right,
but Billy Bob jumped on, and then they're cooking up they're cooking up snags and patties at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah, it's a vibe, man. So I was doing that, and I was doing this, and then before I was doing that, Billy Bob asked me to join his Sunday gig at the Lion. I'm giving you such a thorough history of me right now.
Please.
Hope it's not too egotistical, but
no, this is exactly what I want.
I never think about it in a chronological order.
Because the thing is, like, obviously, like, you're invested in your own journey, as we all are and stuff. What I'm trying to do is, like, there's going to be musicians, like, coming up and stuff like that, and you're more of a veteran in the game. So for you sharing that story, it's got to, like, give a lot of value to these guys.
Yeah.
Just to hear that. And
well, I think if there's any kind
it's attainable because it's a real story.
If there's any kind of overview or a short summary that I can give, is that, like, don't be too good for any opportunities. Not, like, you got to be strategic. I understand that. Like, don't fucking headline the Gov and sell it out and then open for a band at the Exeter the next night. Like, that doesn't make sense. Don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But if random shit comes up, like I did the Fab Four thing, and that's like, that'd be pretty frowned upon. Doing fucking dressing up like a Beatle and playing their music. But man, I fucking played with orchestras. I made really good money for someone that age. Like I was making more money than all my friends had gone to uni and they were doing their first year apprenticeships at their new jobs and all that shit.
But
what's
negative about it? Like what? Like it's
more
just
the connotation, more the idea. It's the cool,
weird perception.
It's the cool thing.
Yeah, fuck. That's what I fucking hate. Like at the end of the day, like if you really dig into it, if you as an artist, like what is really I just feel like there's such a worry about the perception.
The people are worried that are so worried about us being cool. The people that never progress, they never grow.
Exactly.
They never musically fucking.
It's black and
better.
white.
They just go, oh, you know, it's like they become like the beginning of whatever genre it is that they're frothing. Yeah. I know people who kind of do that like southern singer-songwriter thing. It's like all they ever want to do is play a G, C, and D chord and sing sad songs about their dog that died. Yeah. And like that's it.
R.I.P.
And then there's the fucking shoegaze people who just think that like Brian Jonestown Massacre were the best band of all time and like that's it. Yeah. And it's like, don't fucking get stuck in your bullshit. Like that's fucking stupid, man.
Yeah.
Fugazi. Like for me, but I'm like, and the fact that I'm still discovering genres that I love, and now I'm like, I'm like listening to Daniel Caesar and the Tom Misch and all that kind of stuff, and frothing it, and like suddenly like understanding how that works, and wanting to write that way myself, but not in a way that's, you know, kind of copying that, but just bringing that into my own thing, you know,
just being influenced.
Just you're allowing things to come in, and if you're just fucking closing off all the doors, then you're not allowing that evolution to occur.
Absolutely.
And you're just fucking sitting there in your own understanding of what you think is cool or what works or what it is. Or
do you think there's this different perception now? Like, I'm not obviously fully sure because I wasn't around, but I get the idea that there was an older perception that like artists, like, you know, singer-songwriters, things like that, you might take a couple of influences and you just base your sound off like a small pocket of influences. And that's like, it feels like that might be an old school mentality. I'm not sure how true that is, but it feels like these days there's just so much out there that really, and it seems like some of these artists that have these super eclectic tastes, they're just creating this really original sort of unique sound because
that's always
taking little gems from everywhere.
But think back to, I mean, the Beatles are the prime example of that. I mean, there were artists that were able to grow. I mean, if anything, there was more freedom back then. I think we're kind of getting back into it.
But were you more pushing against the norms back then to do that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You were actually discovering. Now you are still. It's really hard to discover. You're always recreating in some way now, but that's okay. But you got to do it in your own way, and you know, the more narrow you keep the goalposts, the harder it is to kick that goal. You know, you can fucking exist in that little world. Yeah. Or you can fucking expand and just have a better time.
That's it. And like I see like some people I talk to, there's just this almost automatic like wall that comes up when they listen to a certain type of music that is just so opposite to what they're used to or that they think they want to experience. But I feel like if you can get to a point where you just allow these things to just absorb them, doesn't mean you have to now go and try and recreate that or anything, or be like, this is my favorite thing, but just experiencing it, listening to the nuances that are going on, listening to the details and stuff like that, and listening to the different sort of elements that can be brought to the table. You know, like I sit there and play fucking, you know, acoustic all the time. That's just what connected with me. But then at the time I was listening to like, you know, I was listening to bands like Cog and like Parkway Drive and shit back then. But then I was writing like acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. So it's like you don't have to like go out and be an opera singer just because you've listened to some opera. Like you can bring elements in and
yeah. And I think over my projects, and I get so around that with where I'm at in that story, doing the thing with Billy Bob, that's all the money side of it. And I was doing the.
So you're making a bit of money doing these gigs with Billy Bob?
Yeah, but I was doing solo gigs of the ad, and I was doing the. No, I wasn't doing that yet. So I was doing the Sunday gigs at the Lion Hotel with Billy Bob. Band called Winter Cherry. We had this guy, Scott Reese, singing with us. And he has a story of his own. He was like, at one point he was in America, like the late 90s, opening for Lenny Kravitz and living at fucking the Bon Jovi residence.
What?
Yeah, no shit. Like he went to America and his label or whoever he was working with like hooked him up with Matt Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi's brother, and he was just like living there. And then so it's just everyone's got these stories, man. And then he's back in Adelaide. It didn't work out for him. You know, some shit went down. It didn't work out for him. And that's his thing that he did. And he's back in Adelaide playing at the Lion on Sunday nights. But yeah, he was, you could tell he was a bit tortured by some stuff. He was,
Of course.
he was launching, and so when I joined, it was good for him because if he ever just decided he wasn't going to sing anymore, he would just look at me and just walk off stage. And so, like literally,
you had that chemistry.
This guy, as a frontman, he was so enigmatic and so like magnetic and just unreal. He'd just be like, and his voice, he kind of sounded like a soulful Joe Cocker. You know, I mean, Joe Cocker's already quite soulful, but this guy again, even more so. He had that kind of brittle breakup in his voice, but yeah, we're doing one of these covers, and me, Billy Bob, my mate Danny on drum. Oh no, this guy, Simsy on drums.
Simsy.
Yeah, and this guy Emo on bass. Emo is like a really ethnic hairdresser, real slick. Simsy was like a real like angry kind of bald guy, like ready to just fuck shit up at any time.
Love that, just headbutting people.
And Billy Bob in his cowboy hat.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah, like just like such a bizarre band. But every Sunday night we were playing, and we were just like going large. No, like honestly, I was the staff were just bringing us shots, and I'm fucking. I guess I'm 21 at this point, or 20 between 20 and 21, and like I'm just like doing this regular residency. I mean, it was covers and stuff, but it's like it was the best gig in town.
What's the
and it was packed every week. It was fucking fights. There was shit getting crazy.
Fucking hell. Wish I could have been there.
Yeah, but I mean that's also where some horrible shit happened too. But
people get knocked out and.
Well, no, I got glassed in the face. So I don't even know if you know that, but so up here.
Oh no.
You see?
You got a bit of scarage?
Yeah, right through my beard. So
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. I can see it.
From there.
That's a decent scar. Yeah.
From there, right up here.
My God.
So one night.
What'd you do? You were singing to someone's missus or something?
No, it was the other way around.
I
was singing, and my missus was up the front, and this guy came and just started like dancing with her, and she's like nice and she's cool. That's all right. But then he's like getting full on. She's
getting
like no,
touchy.
and she turned to him and go no, like fucking leave me alone. And she turned to walk away from him, and he just goes fucking bam, 2 hands on her ass, bang, like right in front of me. So I like kicked him with my foot.
You're up on stage kicking down.
Well, it wasn't like a kick. I like shoved him on the shoulder to get his attention, to be like, dude.
Of course.
And so I'm thinking at that moment that I'd go, dude, that's, you know, what the fuck you doing? That's my girlfriend.
I'm
still playing.
Yeah.
And then I always thought that would kind of just solve it, but then instead he's like, who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
You know, he's wearing his suit. He's like a suit guy.
Some big man.
So then at some point, like, there was a drum solo in the next song, and I went over to Rachel to make sure she was alright. It was my girlfriend at the time. And then this fucking guy, he'd been like waiting. Jesus. He comes over to me and he's like, what's your problem? And I'm like, this fucking, you know, you can't just, it doesn't matter if it's my girlfriend or not, you can't do that to,
that's
to
right.
a woman.
Someone who doesn't want it, obviously.
Yeah. And at some point he like put his arm around me, I had to turn around and shove him back. But as soon as I like shoved him back, he was like, oh, this guy's not putting up with shit or whatever.
So
and then the first swing of the fight was a pint glass.
Jesus.
Straight into my face.
Bro.
So 4 arteries in my face were severed.
My God.
Bleeding out.
So you're like off to the hospital at this point.
I had plastic.
Or you just sitting there, it's just still draining, like proper rock star.
No, the whole place shut down, man.
Fuck.
It was on all over the news.
Jesus.
It was heavy. I'm surprised. I guess it probably hasn't come up in conversation. It's funny. It's actually good that you didn't know about it, because any muso, anyone on the scene that's like my age or around my age or older, they all
know that story.
Yeah, they all saw it on the news and that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Even if they didn't know me once, and then they meet me, and sometimes it might take a while before someone says it, but it's a lingering thing.
You're the glass.
Sometimes I might know someone for ages, and they finally go, "Yeah, I know what happened. You know, I know what happened." Someone's fucking died, man. Like I lost liters of blood, and I had like these arteries. They're having to stitch them together. It was gross. And then the recovery was like 6 months to a year. I couldn't sing, and
I
couldn't sing for a few months, and then I started going back and I did some light solo gigs at the end.
What happened to the guy?
He got 5.5 years in prison.
That's really good then.
Yeah,
that's justice, man.
He's out now.
Yeah,
but so it was a thing. It was like I thought it was the first swing of a fight.
Fuck you, man.
I thought it was the first swing of a fight. It happened to be a pint glass.
Oh,
but
God.
then
that's low, man.
And it was low. Yeah, it broke into my face, and
like at least if it's fists, you live
fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
put them up, boys.
Yeah.
At least you live to fight another day.
Yeah,
like you said, you could have fucking died.
Could have put out my taekwondo skills on the.
Your boxing skills now.
Some fisticuffs.
I'd like to see him try you now.
I wish that I don't know why my taekwondo skills weren't there to block it in the first place, but I'm really lucky because
you probably had a few drinks in you at that time, right?
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't having a huge night that night. It was actually a pretty quiet night at the line. There's security footage, man. So after that happened, every time there was a court date, I'd come out and it was like you come out the courtroom and there's the fucking cameras.
All right.
I was that guy.
So it was this ongoing case, and now it's this public case that people want to know about.
Yeah, and still to this day, if you Google Dusty Stevenson, not Dusty Lee Stevenson, but Dusty Stevenson,
glassing.
Mostly the first thing that comes up is that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's crazy how those negative things stick out a lot more than all the other good,
great
kind
shit
of
like
you've done.
it takes over the publicity of whatever I do. Otherwise, there's still some people that discover me.
Should totally write a song
through
about
other things, and it's over now. But
call it Glass Boy.
But the whole fucking it was pretty hectic going through the whole thing. Well, the recovery was crazy. Like I had my saliva gland was severed, so I couldn't produce saliva properly. Damn. But saliva was trying to produce, so it was just producing into my cheek. Mm-hmm. So my cheek was literally blowing up like a balloon, and then I'd have to go to hospital and get it drained. Then I realized I could do it myself, so I started to just like kind of poke the scar with a pin.
What a weird reality to be living in.
I was compressing it. My mum, my girlfriend, like everyone saw it at the time, but I would like compress it. I'd be standing there like this, and like a little sprinkler of water would be coming out of my.
I shouldn't be laughing, but it's such a strange.
It was crazy
thing that you had to go through there.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And like for a good year.
It hurt, man. Oh. It didn't hurt at the time. There's that shock thing, but yeah, like Billy Bob was there that night. You know, and my friend Danny was there. I remember Danny was sitting behind me like crying.
It's
like,
traumatic,
he thought I was gonna die. I was comforting him. I'm like,
yeah, right.
You know, there was some paramedic who was just on his night off, and he's trying to hold my face together. I'm trying to comfort Danny. And the guy got, once he did it, like everyone jumped on him. He definitely. I feel like in that instance, justice was served. Like, he was a fucking bit of a twat.
Well, I mean, he took it to an absolute extreme, didn't he?
Very unnecessary. I mean, he was trying to claim self-defense. There was no way he could. In the security footage, like my arms are like I've just pushed him off me, and I'm just going, "What's your fucking problem?" My arms are down here.
Yeah.
It's not like I was about to,
But also, it's not like you just randomly went up and pushed a guy. Like he's trying to get feely with random girls in the crowd that he doesn't know.
Even above that, he's trying to argue.
Surely any reasonable person.
The reason is I turned away from him. I was like, I'm fucking done with you, and turned away from him. Then he put his arm around me from behind. Oh. So that's what I was pushing him away from, was that he was trying to like choke. It was weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that happened. And then from during that recovery, I was like, fuck, I'm not doing any original music at the moment. What's going on there? I've written all these songs. Everyone was encouraging me to get back to it. One of the first gigs I did back was the first version of this band that became a band called Angels of Gung Ho. And I had my friend Danny on drums, my dear friend. I was the best man in his wedding recently. And if I ever get married, he'll be mine. But
shout out.
Love you, Danny. But yeah, he was... Yeah, so I got him, I got my friend Kano, we went to school together, and he was on sax and guitar. Tommy Red, who plays a lot of music with Josh Morfitt as well. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who else was in on that one. Oh, Tim Foster on bass. I think Ben Morris did some stuff too at the time, the original Wanderers bass player. But
and you're writing the songs? Like, you're mostly writing these songs?
I wrote the songs. Me and Danny put a poster together, and we booked a date at the Promethean. I'd written these songs, and I put a band together, and it's the first time I'd done original music since Granny Flat, so I was 21.
Right.
So it was about 3 years in between. And that was all the Fab Four stuff, all the partying, all the chaos and mayhem, where I kind of lost track a little bit of what I actually...
The experimenting...
What music actually meant to me and what I want to do.
Gotcha.
So, got back to it with Angels of Gung Ho. Dusty Lee and the Angels of Gung Ho. And then we did a bunch of gigs. We didn't do like super major stuff, but we did some touring with the Super Jesus. We did some cool interstate shows, and we crashed.
You're doing stuff.
We crashed a van, and
right.
We've got a lot of fucking on the road stories.
You're flogging it around in the van. Living that lifestyle.
We just fucking smashed the roof into a car park one night in Melbourne, outside Cherry Bar.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Totaled?
Yeah. Well, it was going to cost us $9,000.
And the van probably only cost you like $3,000 to start with or something.
No, but they ended up, the van company put it through on their insurance, I think, and we were able to pay the amount that was lapsed over, which was like $3,000, I think.
That's a win.
Fucking heaps better.
That's so much better.
So much better. But
and you're getting a taste for
we've
like...
got heaps of stories, and Travis, and we played with Super Jesus a bunch, and I think Travis, our drummer, was formed a good relationship with those guys. He plays drums with Super Jesus now. I'm not saying it's because of that. I think he already had connections to them anyway, but I think that probably helped that we were all playing together. And I'm still friends with everyone else, still play music with everyone else here and there. And that was cool. That was my thing through my mid-20s, before Skies started happening.
Right.
Skies and Wanderers, yeah.
So that sort of was leading into like, cool, like you're getting back on the horse as far as writing songs.
But I didn't know what to do with that band. If I knew what I do now, that band was fucking good.
Yeah, right.
Still is. Every now and then we still get together and do a show. We've got an album. Just sitting there waiting to be finished.
Right. How far
We've
off?
got an EP somewhere that you can listen to, but there's we recorded it like last year. We just went into Winterberg's, put down all the tracks that we've done, and we just haven't done any more. It's up to me.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm a busy boy.
Yeah, you're a busy man. You got lots of
things. When I get around to it, I'll fucking finish that thing, because the songs are really good, man. It's kind of like Queens of the Stone Age meets The Doors or something. You know, like
I'm down.
It's fucking heavy. It's grungy. It's groovy. It's fast. It's slow. It's all the things, and that's what I was frothing at the time. Like heavy guitar tones, heavy riffs,
jams.
Them Crooked Vultures meets Queens meets The Doors kind of thing.
Some epic stuff.
Bit of Tea Party vibes too. So really, really good band. I really love those guys.
I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, so that was like my thing for a while, man. But I didn't know what to do, man. Like you know, Travis, he was probably the most experienced guy in the band. He's a bit older than us, and he'd been in bands for years. He'd done really well. He'd toured overseas. He does shows with like Bruce Kulick from Kiss every now and then, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, like he's done heaps of stuff, but still, even like his world was different to the world we were trying to get with all the modern, with all the current things of at the time. It's like, how do you get on Triple J? How do you do this? How do you do that? Like I just didn't know where to start, so we just basically just did shows, and released music, but like to no avail. You know, we didn't like strategize.
So it had nothing to do with the music not being good enough. It was just about all the
behind
the scenes stuff.
We didn't know how to do the fucking thing.
The management stuff and
we didn't know how to do the thing.
Gotcha.
I'm sure this shit's still recording. This freaks me out.
I don't even know if I'll have to like black that whole that's going. Cool. I might even have to black out the whole fucking Three Amigos scene because of the whole copyright shit that's going on now.
Yeah.
Pretty
they
heavy.
Won't even notice.
Yeah, I'm from pretty small time.
Yeah,
gin it up, dude.
It's time for
this is beautiful.
How good is it?
This is really. Is this like a local?
Yeah, I paid like $60 for this bottle of gin.
They make good fucking gin in Australia, don't they? Like there's a bit of a gin.
Not here to fornicate with arachnids.
I'm not here to fuck anything. Except my fucking... No, I'm not going to say
it. Alright. Where am I at in the Dusty story?
Right, so yeah, Gun Ho, the Angels of Gun Ho, Dusty Lee. It was Dusty Lee and the Angels of Gun Ho. Is that because you were primary, like you're the front man, you're writing the songs?
You know what's funny? Same thing with Wanderers. Started out as Dusty Lee and the Wasted Wanderers.
And because the first EP is called...
I always wanted to... I think I always... After Granny Flat, I always considered myself a bit of a solo kind of guy. So then I was like, well, I have to have my name. And then these bands became such collaborative things that it's like it wasn't fair to still be like Dusty and it's like, no, we're in this together. So then it became a band. I've just always, I think, no matter how hard I try to be that lone wolf, it's not in me. I've my favorite artists of all time are fucking bands.
Yeah, totally get it.
I've never been...
Well, you even said at the start, you said you weren't playing guitar to accompany yourself. You weren't playing guitar because you're like, cool, I want to be like, a full-on guitarist, singer-songwriter guy and this one-man show. You were doing it to accompany yourself.
I never grew up on that music either. I was never listening to that shit. I grew up watching Status Quo Star Jump in sneakers. And so the first gig I ever saw was Deep Purple. And in a quick succession, Deep Purple, Status Quo, and Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper, I guess he's solo, but I don't think of him as that. I was never a huge Alice Cooper fan anyway. We knew this guy who was getting us free tickets to all this stuff. We still know him actually. I saw him the other day. Phil Dowse, shout out.
Woo!
Used to work with my dad when my dad was working at SAFM. I think Phil was manager or something. And he still kills it all around the world, kind of advising radio stations and stuff. But anyway, what was I saying?
So yeah, you're doing like Queens of the Stone Age, them Crooked Vultures. heavy guitar tones, that sort of stuff, and then you take a massive sort of turn stylistically when you get Skies.
I went back to...
Because that's completely different.
Wanderers came first, actually. So I... Oh, no, it didn't. No, Skies. So, Rachel, the girl at the Lion at the club when the thing happened, we kept dating. We were together for like 3 or 4 years, I think.
Yeah. She nursed you through the recovery and all.
Oh, yeah. She was having to rub the bio oil on my face.
Squeeze the pus fucking cheeks.
There was, yeah, it was a while she had to change over the bandages and do it. It was hectic. She fucking put in the, I think she lost a lot of work during that time and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
put
right.
a lot of, yeah, I needed like full-time care. It was pretty hectic. And a lot of PTSD. I had like a knife next to the bed. I'd like wake up and like think that the guy's fucking coming to get me or something.
You had a knife. You were ready to fucking shank.
Yeah, it was like hectic PTSD for a while. It's all good now. For a while there, I would get these like kind of jolty kind of flashes where I would just like remember something about it or something like that.
Yeah, it's fucked
It even
up.
happened as early as recently as like last year. We're in Melbourne somewhere, and I'm like, oh, the guy's like laughing at me because I keep kind of doing this thing. Like,
but there's this
like,
underlying fucking.
So I just said to him, like, guys, sorry, like, I don't know, it's happening to me at the moment. I'm just like, back to the thing that happened to me. Like, I have random flashbacks for no reason. But if I hear like a glass like tank or like smash or something,
and it's a panic on
but
set.
now when I hear that, it happened to me the other day at a gig where I heard a glass smash, and then it didn't bring me back to that.
You know? And was that like a turning point where you're like, okay, cool, like I'm progressing.
Yeah, it's been nearly 10 years. So that's like how long it takes for that shit to actually.
And that's like, you know, that's minor compared
like
to like
what
right. Can happen to people as well. You know, that's like obviously traumatic, but that's on the lower scale. You know, from what some people with PTSD experience, and that still took you fucking 10 years to get through.
Yeah, but
right.
yeah, I'm finally alright from it.
Right. So Rachel, she had something to do with Skies, or
no? So her brother was producing music, and then I was like, well, Micah, his name is a great dude, but also like very smart dude. Like he was doing his uni stuff, neurological. I actually can't even quite remember what he was studying, but he had his stuff going on. But he was producing great electronic music. So I said one day we'd do a track together. We did this track Flames. I just sang over something he'd already kind of done. We wrote lyrics, and it was kind of about his relationship at the time. And then we just like kind of half-assed mixed it and put it up on SoundCloud and this like French blog. So this isn't the first time I've ever done anything that's not like with guitars, not some organic thing.
You're just singing.
Yeah, on the collaborating, like still writing, but like over something he'd done.
Yeah.
And then this like French blog, it's massive, because SoundCloud was a huge thing, man. Like they could fucking just suddenly you could go from being like this, like Spotify is now, I guess.
Yeah.
You go from being nothing to suddenly Hype Machine. You're like number one on Hype Machine or whatever, and all of a sudden like the clubs and the producers all over the world know about you. And so that shit was like we released that one song, and then I remember like refreshing overnight. I was like, we released the song, and then within a couple of days, suddenly it had like 100,000 hits on Spotify or whatever was going on. I was like, what the fuck?
Proper
like,
numbers.
We were completely unknown. Like we didn't like release it through a PR.
There was no plan. There was just we're just
this
dropping
French,
it.
And then we found out this French blog like Labelle, I think they were called Labelle Music, had reposted it or added it to a playlist or something. So then once that happened, it's like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
So then we had we had to make it a thing, and we had to make more music, and it was at times a bit of an uphill battle. We had different approaches to different understandings, you know, of how it all goes, or how it should work, or how it should sound, or how it should look, or what it should be. But then this AC who was managing, he ran the night Cats at Rocket Bar. He started managing us, and he was a friend of ours. And I don't know, yeah, that bit we just kept going with that band, and then Music SA gave us this. Oh, so yeah.
Did you do the Stigwood?
We got the Stigwood Fellowship. Yeah. So they paid for us to.
What's that, like 2016 or something like that?
Yeah, it's probably about right.
Yeah.
We went to London, and we played at the Great Escape in Brighton, and we were playing with like Gang of Youths and
incredible.
Fuck, who did we play with actually? And we didn't play with Gang of Youths, but Dave was there.
So was it?
I was like hanging with him, but
great.
The who was it? City Calm Down, Slum Sociable, Methyl Ethel.
Yeah, wicked. They've been around for a while.
You know, like TK Mines was around, and we did a bunch.
She was early Stigwood. She was like 2014 or something.
We did some shows with Peking Dark and with Meg Mac. We opened for a bunch of times.
What a voice.
Yeah.
So you're doing some stuff.
Safia, we did a few shows with Safia too. So through that band, I got exposed to this whole other world, and then
that's more Triple J.
But so with Gung Ho, I'm going, I don't know how to be in that world, and then all of a sudden I'm in a band who's only in that world, and it's like I actually got like it's that thing of the world giving you what you need, and I've got exactly the opposite experience. I was like, oh, this is too much of this, you know, too much of caring about what Richard Kingsmill thinks, and and the pressure and the strain of everybody having an opinion on what you're gonna do, and like not as much freedom as I wanted, and
it's just like
so it was the exact opposite side of we were very like thinking back on it now, we were very like we cared a lot about the opinion of also because it was kind of their fucking fault, man. Triple J would be like, Richard Kingsmill would be like, hey, like like that's a good release, yeah, I really like it. I like where you guys are going. Definitely going to get behind the next one if it's just as good. So then we go, all right, well, we need to really work on the next one. And we do the next one, present it again. He'd be like, oh, that's great. Like, you guys, really done a good job. But, I'll really keep an eye on it for the next one. And we just kind of get the same feedback. So we'd get, like, drips. They'd play our music a bunch of times. And we'd get the feedback. Everything seemed positive. Everything seemed good. And Stu McQueen, who's Wonderlick, and he's Boy and Bear's manager. And
cool.
Now Amy Shark as well, I think, but
Adelaide guy.
he was part of the Stigwood thing, working with us, and he told me that he thought we were the best unsigned band in the country, and so we're hearing all these things, and then
how do you process all these different things?
The chemistry of it was like really difficult to facilitate in a way that's gonna flow to live up to the expectations.
Well, and this is between you and
Micah and Zaba. Zaba joined as well, so Zaba. And once Zaba joined, I think Zaba also a producer. So
gotcha.
Once Zaba became the later sound of Skies, and he ended up taking
like Speed Boy and
kind of Speed Boy. Well, Speed Boy actually I wrote that song on my lap. That's the first song I'd done where I'd started that myself. Like I fucking had Ableton.
Gotcha.
I'd seen them do it.
Gotcha.
So then I got Ableton, and then I started doing that. But then they made it fucking heaps better.
Yeah.
And then that was through Stigwood. We worked with this guy who did San Cisco, and he was this big producer-y kind of guy. He was a bit of a douche, but it was cool. Like he was like really, really sweet. I remember I'd be like singing, he'd be like, "That was shit. Do another one." Like fuck, right?
Just blunt as fuck.
Yeah, it was so fucking blunt, and he just seemed like he didn't want to be there. But somehow out of that, Speed Boy came out, and that's a good.
It's refreshing though sometimes, isn't it? Like, because I suppose you can be in an environment where, like you said, you got Kingsmill saying like, "Yeah, keep going," and you've got these, you're the best and all this stuff, and then you just get this complete opposite, which is just like that sucked.
Yeah.
Like, do better, fix it.
Yeah.
How do you navigate?
There isn't. What I found from that is
time.
It's honestly just timing.
Your own instinct, like do you
what with
do you
Triple
start,
J?
I mean, just with the whole process of what was going on, like with that band, all these voices. Does that create trusting yourself? Like, do you think it goes one or two ways? Like, you either just have to go more inward and go,
you got to.
We know what's up, or you just fully listen to them.
The best advice I can give is you block out the noise and be consistent. Like that's all you can do. Block out the noise so that you're not being influenced by fucking bullshit, like trivial bullshit, and be consistently growing.
Because as an artist,
because you can fucking think, okay, the next single's the one that's gonna
do it for us,
work, or that's gonna be whatever, and then it won't. But the difference is, I think, between me and the other guys in that band is that I think they were very much expecting like that instant fucking gratification, like that
one hit
thing.
Bang.
Or just that, what we had with Flames, and then, they want that same, let's get the fucking... And so the idea of that long-term kind of grind, that building a consistent catalogue and growing slowly...
Just corrodes away.
It wasn't... they weren't as tuned in for that kind of thing, I don't reckon. I love those guys. Like and it was really... It's really funny that we had, like, this part of our lives where we were kind of jumping around the world together and doing different things, because like cool. I still see Zaba every now and then. I haven't seen Micah in years, but it's just we're just so different, such different dudes, and we have such a different relationship with music. So it's actually really special that we got to come together on something, even for a short amount of time. And for me, what I got from it is that a greater understanding of how that side of music does work. So I can dip my toes in that world and, you know, the world of strategy and all that kind of thing. So you can understand it, you only do that for a while, and then you know how it works. You can then apply that to your, you know, like the way I did Angels Gung Ho, where it's like not even knowing how to do that stuff, then doing that, and then I get both those experiences, kind of put them together, and then Wanderers is
you got
formed.
Perspective now.
And so then from Wanderers, it's like you can apply that knowledge from both of those things. So it's like, and that's why I say block out the noise and be consistently good. Because, yeah, all you've really got at the end of the day is, I mean, if you're fucking only writing good music and only putting out, if you've only got good output all the time, like eventually people can't deny. Eventually it's got to work.
I mean, that's
as
always...
long as you're not only just playing in your fucking bedroom. Like if you're at least trying to not only do gigs at the Crown and Anchor, and you're trying to, you know, you are going interstate, you are trying to go overseas, you are trying whatever else. As long as whatever you're doing is always fucking good, it'll work eventually. Yeah,
I totally feel that, and I think, like, you know, as an artist who's trying to, like, you know, make a career, or, you know, possibly trying to get into the industry and make things sustainable for themselves, like, there's always that level of, like, this might just not resonate at the right time, because sometimes timing's a thing, and, you know, your sound might be amazing, but if you were born 20 years ago, you'd click, or if you're born 20 years later, it'll click.
But I think time changes as quicker than that. The things that are cool, I think it's more of like if you start your band and that year that sound totally isn't cool, like 2 years later it might be, and by that time the sound is more refined, and you might even be the band that makes that sound cool again. Totally. Look at Tame Impala. Like, Kevin Parker's like decided what's gonna work.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing them at Jive, man, when he had fucking bare feet. And he
Wait, I thought I was fucking interviewing Kevin Parker right now.
Switching between the drums and the guitar, and they had half full glass of wine in that first EP going, and they that was so fucking different. Between that and everything else, it's
but unapologetically so.
Yeah.
Like, we're just doing this, and, like, fuck what anyone thinks, really. Like, we're just gonna go for it. And I guess, like as a creative, like, is all you can really... I mean, I like the idea of, like, all I can really hope for at the end of the fucking day, win or lose, like, you know, you make it big or you just do your own thing or whatever happens, is that I can look back on the stuff I've created and be like, cool, like, I definitely gave that a good crack and I put my all into it, and I'm proud of what I've created.
That's it.
Because we all fucking end the same way, don't we, at the end of the day? Like, it doesn't matter how many millions you make or whatever. At the end of the day, you're all going to get to a point where you sit back and you reflect on what you've done, and either you're going to be satisfied that, cool, I'm proud of the efforts I've put in, I'm proud of what I've done, or you're going to feel like, fuck, you know.
As long as you're proud of it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's probably some people who've and there's people who've had success from music they've fucking hated.
Yeah.
And it's
totally.
Like, are they better off? Are they?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Are they happy?
I actually don't think so.
If the end goal is to be, you know, financially secure, then maybe they've done all right. But they, you know.
But is that the end goal? Isn't the end goal to, like...
The end goal shouldn't be that.
The end goal is, like, you're on your deathbed and you're in that really profound... And this is just me assuming how it's going to be. You're in that profound reflective moment where all of a sudden you start to have this different perspective where you're not attached to, you know, your life anymore. You're more a bit like, cool, like, I'm detaching from it and I'm moving on to whatever the hell... if there is anything next, and you sort of look back on things a bit more objectively, not so, and you, like, you know, that's why people always say, like, you look at Steve Jobs and these guys, and they say, I wish I spent more time with family, you know, I wish those basic things that matter, and so it's like, you might have all this money, but if you're not happy looking back at the end on, like, what you've done and what you've created, and you're not proud of the efforts, then I think that you've sort of lost in a little bit of a way, and it's a bit unfortunate. I'd rather just stick to my guns and do what I do, you know, and be proud of my work, and yeah, and be at the end of the days and look back and go, cool, I had a fucking good crack and I'm happy with what I've done. Like, that's... Yeah. I reckon that's where the win is.
It is.
People are a bit too short-sighted. Like, I want $1 million next year. But and I also think by sticking to your guns creatively, you surround yourself with people, though, that, like, that will give a fuck about what you're doing. You know, I think when you're just chasing the material stuff too much, like, you build a network of fakeness around you sometimes, and you know what it's like. You know much better than me about that.
Yeah, no, it's a thing, man. You fucking... If people are only excited about the hype of what it is, not even actually what it is. It's like people are excited about the idea of the song or the music or the artist. Not even the actual thing itself. Like, that's what it is with a lot of this shit.
They sell the idea.
This is Tekashi 69. I know I'm gonna sound like an old guy, but that's fucking stupid, man.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
No one's getting off on that shit. Not really. Not without the video.
Well,
not without the fucking... Not without the thing that he just said.
I don't think it holds up. Yeah.
It doesn't hold up. It's not going to be in the songbook of your children in the next generation.
And that's it.
The fucking kids at primary school singing Bubble Butt or whatever the fuck he just released. Like, who... I don't know, man. It
all plays out, though. It all comes out in the wash, doesn't it? Yeah.
It all does come out in the wash.
And you're right.
That's the thing that comes with that maturity of realizing that. That's why I'm content. Like, I'm not sweating about when the next single's coming out. And I'm not trying to push it out as quick as I can. I'm not... Like, I don't feel like I'm racing against the clock right now. Much to my parents' bewilderment, if that's even a word. But
right, totally a word.
I think, you know, it's like, you gotta fucking do it. You gotta get it going. It's like, no. I think when it feels good and if it's right, like, as long as I keep creating, like, I don't want to stop creating and then do nothing. But like, if I'm still creating, and then it feels right to get it out. It kind of happened with Wanderers at the moment.
So we move on to Wanderers, right?
Yeah, that story, right?
Right.
All right. That's cool.
Where are we at?
I'm gonna have to miss my appointment.
Are you missing your appointment?
I'm missing it.
We need to finish this story,
let's
though.
Just push through.
Where are we? How long?
This might have to be a 2-part podcast.
This might be a 2-part. What's the time?
Mate, it's not gonna happen.
How have we done?
It's 2:23. So.
Oh, is it 2:23? Holy how long? But how? Can you change the setting to see the time? You can, or is clicking that gonna like scare something?
I don't know. Display mode.
Time. We're sitting at. That's not 2.5 hours, is it?
2 hours and 37 minutes. No way. You reckon?
What?
Did I just hit something?
No, we're still going.
Alright.
That can't be true.
Well, the whole Three Amigos movie finished a while ago.
Did it? Holy fuck. Alright, let's get to it then. So, Skies, you do your thing, you have a good experience. How does that sort of end?
Well, when I went in for the Stigwood meeting with Sky, so Wanderers was already a thing. When I went in for the Stigwood meeting with Dan Cranich, Robert Stigwood, just to back up so people can...
And shout out to Stigwood, dude.
Yeah, he's dead, but shout out to Stigwood. Robert Stigwood...
R.I.P.
Robert Stigwood found Tina Turner, made her a thing, managed the Bee Gees. He's a fucking guy from Adelaide, right? Amazing. Robert Stigwood. Old as fuck, moved to London, had his career there or whatever. And then just somewhere along the way, he formed this Robert Stigwood Foundation. Went back to his Adelaide roots and formed this like...
Look at that heartburn, bro.
Formed this fucking thing, you know, with the local music scene.
That's so good.
So this Robert Stigwood Foundation would create this fellowship.
I applied yesterday, literally yesterday.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good one. We probably did too. I say probably because that would have been Sian that did that one. Thank you.
She's onto it.
Love you.
Love that. Hook me up.
Yeah. But no, she. What was I saying? Yeah, no, fucking he did some shit. But somewhere along the way, he's like hooked up this thing where people can like fucking be selected and then be developed via his.
Like they act as a label, essentially, like a temporary label, and they mentor you through this process.
I mean, I didn't have any direct. I think it's more a funding thing. I think they kind of fund it on their end.
Gotcha.
But we didn't, like, when we did the Stigwood stuff in the UK, like, even if we went to the UK and I didn't meet anyone, it was like, hi, I'm from the Robert Stigwood Foundation. Like, I feel like it's kind of this ghostly element that exists that's probably funding it.
And then you send the invoice.
I don't know what it is, but, like, it worked out alright for us. I mean, we got to work with this great producer. We got to go to London. We got to do a bunch of touring.
Huge. Well, you look at the past fellows, and a lot of them have created something for themselves, and pretty significant.
But the point is, when I went in for that meeting, I actually thought he was going to give it to Wanderers. So with Skies, we applied.
So you had these both going at the same time.
Yeah. So Wanderers came out of that frustration of only being in that world. And I was doing the barbecue jam at that point, Monday nights, and Matt came along, this quiet dude. fucking jamming with this guy Ben who was like playing Bon Jovi songs and stuff, and Ben's a really nice guy, by the way. I'm not trying to diss it, but the first memory I have of Matt is him begrudgingly playing along to like Dead or Alive or something, you know, but killing it,
classic,
you know, but fucking slaying it, and yeah, I think one night me and Ben, the bass player in Barbecue Boys, became really good friends, and we got Matt up one night to just play drums for some of my songs, and he'd never heard them, and Ben hadn't even heard half of them. We just kind of jammed out some stuff. Actually, a song Mary Jane, I think we did that night, which is a staple Wanderers.
Give us a little taste of that one.
You know what?
I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I'm not gonna fucking do that. You guys can listen to it.
Don't be a pussy.
But the point is, Mary Jane went through Angels of Gung Ho. We did that version of that song with fucking Cuno on sax, but also like heavy, but then with Cuno on sax. And then I jammed it with Barbecue. It's 3 chords in the essential thing. I mean, now when we do it with Wanderers, it's got all this other shit, and it's got these other sections, this bridge, this outro, all this stuff, which I really dig. But like the core of the song is fucking 3 chords, man. This catchy hook and 3 chords, and that's what we did. And I was like, oh, dig Matt, let's fucking do this shit. The guy, Steve Salvi, who used to be in the Barbecue Boys, so he was my side of the stage. He was the guitar guy. He had his white Strat and his wicked dude. Salvi's Fine Guitars, 54 George Street, Theberton. That's where you got to go for all your guitar servicing and requirements and needs. And
you sent me there.
I recommend it, man.
Satisfied.
So yeah, he has a studio at his house in Crayford, and he was like trying to pull it together, but also he really needs inspiration. Like he needs someone to go, I'm coming in. Otherwise, it's just like this space is unreal. It's probably still. I think we're the only thing that has happened there and been released in like the last 10 years. And we went in there. Me, Ben, and Matt went in there, and Savvy was there, and he kind of let us just use all his shit.
Love it.
We look outside, it was like winter in Crayford, and you just see the land and the trees and the rain, and there was this tape machines and beautiful gear, beautiful vibe, and that's how Wanderers began.
Wow.
It was like, let's just record music. I had heaps of songs, and we just started putting some of them down. And
it's a massive U-turn.
For no reason.
Yeah.
And it was, I was doing Skies at the time too. I hadn't ended Skies.
And that was like the industry, like, you know, that was the.
And these guys knew I was in Skies. Like they knew that Skies was the thing that was fucking.
It had momentum and blah blah blah. Yeah.
So we weren't doing it for any reason other than to just make music.
And you weren't putting any guitar down, obviously, with Skies. You were just singing.
Oh, there was some guitar. I did introduce. I mean, especially on Speedboy, it became a big thing.
But wasn't a guitar-driven.
It wasn't
band
stuff
in the same way with Wanderers.
No. Yeah,
so much great guitar in the Wanderers.
Thank you.
So much great guitar. Absolutely, man.
It all starts with guitar.
Some great detail.
Lately, it's more keys driven, actually.
There's a lot of great keys in Wanderers too. It's phenomenal.
We give it a go.
Not gonna lie, seeing you guys it was Drive, and it was so depressing, bro, because we couldn't like properly dance, and like the Wanderers is like everyone fucking dance. Like when you hear that song, it's like, all right, the music's saying everyone fucking dance.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how it got that way. I don't think it was intentional. But I think once Matt and Malush kind of dig into a groove, it's pretty undeniable. That was a Keys song. That was probably the first song I wrote on keys for the band. But yeah, fuck. Anyway, so we fucking.
So you did that EP at Salvies? Is that where the EP?
Goddamn Anything, the first EP.
Oh, great song too.
So we.
I want you to show me how to play that song.
Yeah.
I'd love to cover that.
That's like a classic kind of country box like that one.
Please whip it out.
I got it. Okay.
Yes. Here we go. I've tapped into something here. Is that a Martin? It's a Martin, isn't it?
This is. just some like.
Yeah. So tasty.
And
Goddamn anything.
it's my first use of the chord that would become. Fuck. A staple Wanderers chord. Like, look at that moment there, right? God damn anything. God damn anything. Anyway, horribly out of tune, but you get the idea.
That's beautiful.
So that chord there.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Sus 4 out of 9.
Damn, it's very sus.
Same chord as. Same chord as.
Right.
Same chord as. Same chord as. Same chord as. Same chord as.
Okay.
Right? So
Getting a bit of an insight here, guys.
And Billy Bob showed me that chord.
Shout
And
out.
he doesn't even use it that much. I think it was just some like fucking soul song we were playing, and Bill's always like, "Yeah, about this. Check this one out." And that's how he talks, of course. Hey, See, we've just been like, wait, just fucking do this one, bro.
Just that casual about it, eh?
Yeah, how about that?
What a man.
Anyway,
It sounds beautiful.
I'll teach it to you sometime.
Please do.
I don't know why I had to pull out my guitar for that.
No! What do you mean? It's because that's what the people want.
Oh yeah, the point is, it's like it's kind of country. So
Goddamn anything.
you look at the original photos of Wanderers. I'm wearing my fucking fedora and my like denim shirt.
Oh god.
You know.
I'll show off a picture of that. Nah, I probably won't, but could.
It's just here. That's the photo right there.
Movie magic.
Yeah. OMG. And the that was the intention. It was always going to be like this kind of like this as opposite a skies as could exist, like something that's from Nashville or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
The acoustic was very prevalent. The fucking fedora, you know.
Fedora. What's
It was
what's
meant to be.
Western about the
It was
fedora?
meant to be like a no. It was meant to be like a folk. Obviously, fedora is more European, but it was meant to be like a folk rock thing. I think. But then somewhere along the way, it's like, oh, the band can just do anything.
There's so many other elements, and that's why when I sort of shared about this interview coming, I was like, and in the bio as well with Wanderers, it's like you sort of define yourselves as a genre bending, you know, sort of band. Like that's got to be part of the story. Like, you know, there's
like,
soul, there's funk, there's rock, but it's so many fucking things.
I think all my favorite bands are hard to define, and it's nice. I'm proud to be in a band that's hard to define. It's also it's a strange thing to try and promote in an era where everyone wants to be able to define everything.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, well, what do you sound like? Even if everyone Triple J goes, Richard Kingsman will be like, hello, this is Richard Kingsman. You're listening to Triple J. This is a new song by a band. If you like Matt Corby, and you like Boy and Bear, and if you like Violent Soho, you know, it's if you like this artist, you'll like this song. It's like they've got to sell.
That's
it.
a marketing tool,
It's
isn't
like
it?
they've got
Like
to sell it
it's
to you first, but it's fucking bullshit, man. Even when you put your stuff on Unearthed,
you gotta buy
and
it.
this, by the way, it's got nothing to do with Triple J. This is just the general climate.
Yeah.
They, you know,
But we're Australians, so Triple J is the most relevant.
They do what you got to do to They do what they got to do
to survive.
Yeah, I don't actually have. I think for a while there, I really tried hard to blame them for my career not doing well, but it's not their fault.
I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't agree with that assessment of your career.
It's just the climate of you know, Australia's just how it's worked out. And they actually fucking work hard. They do the best they can. Yeah. And they've adapted. They're right there with. They know what's going on, and I don't. But you know, like I just mean, this is an example. When you put your track up on the Unearthed, it's like, and what do you sound like? You know, sounds like. You have to put sounds like.
Yeah.
You have to name a bunch of artists that you sound like.
Oh, it's just silly. It's like, do I put down every band that I've ever listened to and have been influenced by? Like, that's to me as an artist, that's how I would describe it.
They need something to say.
It's marketing, and it's for the purpose of categorizing, right? Like, to make it convenient for people to be able to find you. They want to go, like, they're not going to look at a million categories to try and like they want to look at maybe 50 categories.
But that's what genre defining is for. Like, you can say...
Yeah, but then everything's fucking alternative these days, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can get more specific. You can say alternate, folk, soul, rock, neo.
But that's what I'm saying. But then you've got 100,000 categories, and like no one wants to flick through 100,000.
I'd rather have 100,000 categories than 4 different band references that we sound like. I would actually rather go over the top specifying specific genre types.
Like actually nail the description.
Than saying we sound like this. Or this sound like this.
Similar
artist.
to this band, or no, I get you.
Because it's not. I understand doing it like when you're applying for something or when you're writing on something. Like say for something like on Earth, there's a lot of forms. You've got to write down the things. But I don't know, when they fucking say it on the radio, you got if you like this artist, you like this artist. It's like they think the listeners are all fucking idiots.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, isn't it? I think people are smarter than that.
I don't hope so.
Is music not just going into this weird world where
I have had experiences. Sorry, I have had experiences where it's like, you say to someone, "What sort of music you into?" And they go, "Oh, Triple J."
Oh, totally. That's a genre almost. Like
it's like, oh, it's a genre now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how it is. Like.
But is the genre Triple J, or is it more just like Australiana? There's like a vein of Australiana.
Substantially less Australian than it once was.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Well, they play a lot of international stuff, and I listen probably less Triple J than I ever have, and it's probably not because it's anything personal with Triple J, but I just like, why not just chuck things that really touch me on Spotify?
So how old are you?
26.
Yeah. Well, they're not playing music for you anymore.
Yeah. It
is for 18 to like 23-year-olds. I think
youth.
Like, primarily, yeah. But the problem is that like that's like so that that demographic exists, as a small percentage of the population. And then, but Triple J.
But radio itself,
Triple J is the monopoly on Australia. So if we were in America or the UK or something, we would have other options. Mm-hmm. You would go, oh, that's not servicing me anymore. Yeah. What else is out there?
Yeah, that's
BBC the thing. 1 isn't I'm not digging that. Let's go BBC 2.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4.
In America, you don't have that here.
No, in America you just like and as a band when you're trying to get your stuff out there with these other things, and that's what we found in America. It's like all of a sudden the fucking floodgates are open, man, and we're just like,
whoa, there's so many avenues.
So many avenues. And all these things, like these attainable things. Like, oh no, you can have an interview with that guy. You can go on that station. We can hook that up. We can do that thing.
There's more room to make shit happen for
and
yourself.
Even if it doesn't work out, there's the other thing. So that's why no one's ever stressing over there. Like, New York, yeah, everyone's like fucking ADHD freaking out. But like in LA, everyone's like, like you can book a meeting, and if no one shows up, they're like, "Oh, that's all right. I got another one later."
I'll book another meeting.
It's everyone's so chilled. It's almost fucking scary, but there's something about that I can relate to. Man, it's good.
Well, let's even move into that because obviously, so you've done an EP with Salvi, and that's sort of where the initial discography of Wanderers kicks off, and fucking great stuff. Like check out. Is The Wasted Wanderer, is that the name of the EP or is that the song? Am I getting it twisted?
The band was originally called Dusty Lee's Wasted Wanderers, and then by the time we released the EP, it was just called Wasted Wanderers. And that's the Goddamn Anything EP. But it's now you can get the same EP under the name Wanderers.
Under Wanderers, right? All caps. And Skies is all caps as well.
Yeah.
Was that your doing?
No, I think that was the other guys. But I was frustrated because we were all caps. We were trying to be all caps, but then when we uploaded our stuff to the streaming services, it was written in lowercase.
They lowercased it, yeah.
And it was inconsistent.
Well, because I was looking up for the caps version.
I was fucking angry.
I know.
It was like really pissed me off.
Dogs.
It was like an issue. It was a thing. It was a fucking thing.
Well, I mean, as far as branding and stuff goes, like there's got to be that consistency. You can't have it fucking. So you've got this EP out, and then how does that and obviously you're enjoying this in a different way than you've enjoyed music.
We launched it at Jive and we sold out Jive, which I'd always wanted to do. So that was nice. And We got WOMAD.
Great.
We did WOMAD, and that was all of that kind of stuff happened. That was all me booking everything at that point. So I managed the band.
So you're doing all the things Adelaide, basically, with this band.
I did at the beginning. Yeah, I did all the stuff. I mean, like, you know, obviously. Hold on. I didn't do all the stuff. Like Matt recorded and produced and mixed all the music. Like he mastered that first EP too. He did everything.
Gotcha.
He had a studio at his house in Windvale, near Golden Grove there, and that's where we record. Like, so as we did it at Salvy's, like the bed tracks, but we finished that EP at Matt's place, and Matt did everything. He sweated over that, you know. Dude, he worked hard on that.
Great guy to have. And
then and also with the other stuff too. I guess it was definitely a team effort. I'm just laughing at myself because I was just like, I did this and that.
But as far as gigs go, there was no lacking of gigs offerings.
But with the
Wanderers,
with the active face moving forward stuff, like I was that guy.
Yeah,
I was the guy. I went to my friend Coral told me to meet this this woman Emma Coyle, who became a good friend of mine, at Music SA, and that was my first. It was like, hey, you went to Music SA the other day. It was like I had my first time doing that. Sat with Emma Coyle. She told me about, you know, she gave me advice on how to get WOMAD, and we got WOMAD as a result of that. And then she gave us advice on direction and kind of those meetings, and that like that kind of led on to the stuff that happened for Skies as well. And so a lot of that is just getting out there and meeting people and chatting and you know, seeing how it's all going.
And like you said, like trying to grab opportunities and.
But asking questions, like being it's okay that you don't fucking know everything.
And how many years ago, like, was Wanderers formed, and like your first EP is 2016 or something?
Yeah, it was around that time. So Skies was already doing a lot of stuff. It was 2014 actually, 2015, 2014.
Right.
Around then.
And then Skies
was already Skies had a real busy year. So 2016 when Stigwood happened, that like we already had goddamn anything out, Wanderers, and that's why I thought it was going to be for Wanderers, but it was for Skies.
So you did 2 applications.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
And the Skies one we did late because they said, please
do it.
You haven't entered.
Which basically means like you're gonna get it. Yeah.
Like, fuck. All right.
Okay, better go. And it's such an easy application for anyone out there.
Yeah,
like
do it.
I looked at the Carclew one. I think
if you go for the Stigwood thing and you get the Stigwood thing, it'll change your life. Really, it will. It's a good thing. At least with what the experience you have and the stuff you'll learn. I mean, it's just unattainable stuff. Otherwise, it's not some shit you can just fucking check out a YouTube tutorial.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Some things people still matter.
Yeah. But it was no. Anyway, so I don't know. Whatever. Fucking skip forward. Wanderers. We got Cian managing us.
Yeah.
At some point.
Little Acorn.
Yeah, and she was at the Gov one night, and I was like, look, I got us WOMAD. I did the jive thing, and I'm just not wired for this shit. You know me. I'm not, man. I can't fucking keep a calendar that well and sort my life out.
You definitely need an assistant. You got a lot of shit going on.
I'll give it a go. But I relented those tasks to Cian, and she smashed out of the park. So yeah, and then I ended up. Fast forward, we did a bunch of stuff. Lots of touring, lots of fun things, lots of other stories for other times, and then ended up in America.
Yo, and this is where the story sort of fucking peaks, right?
Yeah.
And this is almost like a lifetime highlight as well. Like,
that was fun.
Fucking hell, we're at 3 hours.
It's definitely going to be a 2-part podcast.
Should it be a 2-part?
Possibly even 3-part. Depends the attention span of your listeners.
Oh, I think we've got to hear a brief moment of.
I need to urinate. Can we?
Yeah, I need to urinate too.
Let's have a piss
break. Do we pause it?
Let's keep that going.
We'll keep it flowing.
And we'll keep the whole thing going.
We'll come back.
And then you can cut it out after.
God damn it.
So this is going to be cut out. I'm just going to go. Where are we at in the story?
We're back. So, okay, so where does Skies sort of finish? Like, because like I mean, like you said, you still sort of jam with them or no?
Nah, not anymore. But
right.
we when we went to Brighton, So by that point, it's so Matt, who drums for Wanderers, or who's half of Wanderers, he also played drums for Skies. So we needed a live drummer. I got him in. So he plays drums for Timberwolf too. I remember he had shows in Canada and I think the States as well with Timberwolf, and then he had to fly from there to London, and we had Skies shows in for the Great Escape Festival in London.
Shit.
Or in Brighton. And that was awesome, man. I saw Jacob Collier live on the fucking foreshore, like by himself with like 20 other people watching. That guy's a wizard.
Wow.
And there's a whole bunch of other cool stuff going on. Usher played for some reason.
Usher played?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Or it was Craig David or one of those guys.
Got a good voice.
They're all the same to me. Oh, that almost sounded racist.
Not because of colour.
I mean genre.
Because of stylistically.
Yes. Oh my god.
It's sad that we have to.
I know I should specify.
Don't freak out.
You know, I just meant sometimes I think Usher, Craig David. I'm not like that.
The R&B songs.
Suave. They're almost like the Frank Sinatra of R&B vibes.
Of course. Because of the current climate.
Is that smooth?
You wouldn't usually have to describe that.
Whoa.
What was that?
That's good.
Is that too much?
That's a lot. It's good.
Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to do that.
Pour some in mine.
Yeah, I'm trying to pour some in yours to even that out.
Yeah.
Is that more? That's more open, isn't it? That's good.
That's good. That's good.
That's perfect.
Oh, might need another tonic though.
Yeah. Should I go grab one?
Yeah, maybe just go grab a tonic.
You play a little tune? Play a little tune for the people.
Sing your song now. It's gonna be really nice. We're gonna sing this song. It's gonna be a nice little song. We're gonna give it a sing. Should my guitar be in tune? That's so satisfying. I'm not gonna sing now. I'm gonna sing at the end. I'm just gonna.
Sing at the end.
That's even better. I'll just say.
Right, so Skies is sort of fading out a little bit, like as far as for you anyway. the skies are going grey, so to say.
Best podcast ever. Joe Rogan can fuck off. This is
fuck Joe Rogan. No, to be honest, I
love Joe Rogan. I'm more of a Mark Maron fan. I'm a Mark Maron guy.
I haven't listened to that. Look, you don't fucking take everything that people say for gospel, but I just like the format. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, he's just.
Whereas I feel like I've made this more of an interview. I've definitely just been primarily talking about myself.
But also, like Joe Rogan, like he's interviewing people, isn't he? Like that is what he's doing, and like the aim of it is to get the story of the person. And
somewhere along the way, he makes sure he talks a lot about elk meat,
or like MMA, or DMT.
I just feel like you know, you'll just be having a conversation and be like, yeah, and then my dad divorced my mum. He'd be like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Have you tried elk meat?
Elk meat. I thought he said alchemy.
You should try eating.
And I was like, I didn't know he was into alchemy.
You should try eating some elk meat.
Some elk backstrap, man. That's right.
Have you tried microdosing shrooms, man? Hey, you know what? If you do like an hour in my deprivation tank, you feel so much better, man.
I've got one here.
Yeah.
You can use it after.
It's the best one in the world, man.
Dude, I'll send you some elk meat.
No. It's the best one in the world.
Dude, I'll send you a bow and arrow. I'll send you a bow and arrow.
3 commercial fridges full of elk meat, man. I hunt it myself.
Dude.
With my bare hands.
But first I put the elks live into the deprivation tank so they're more spiritual.
Yeah, I want them to be awakened before I fucking strangle them with my hands.
Totally. That's why I sort of think that the best bet for me, because he's obviously super knowledgeable, so he's fucking amazing what he does. At the level I'm at, I'm just like, the best bet is to get interesting people on and let them tell their fucking story. And that's how I'm provide value. Right, but I want to get to the bottom of this. So Wanderers then start to become the main.
You make me realize I've got a story.
I've got a fucking story, dude.
Story.
I thought we said an hour.
Done some fucking shit.
We've been in here for at least 2 hours.
Giving it a go.
I think that thing's lying to us.
Who do you reckon? If anyone has made it this far, I commend you.
As far as life, or
no, through the podcast.
Oh, through the podcast.
If anyone's made it this far through the podcast, that's not me saying if anyone's made it as far as I have in life. That would be the most arrogant thing someone could say.
I thought you were just saying if anyone's alive, if anyone's still living.
No, if anyone's made it as far through this podcast as this, write to Yorke. He's gonna send you a free car.
It's Love Gang, all day, every day.
Yeah,
that's what Love Gang's known for, sending out free,
brand new free car. What is it? New Mazda 3.
It's a Mazda 4.
4.
It's a Tesla, bruh.
Fuck yeah.
It's a
You
Tesla.
get a free Tesla if you've made it this far.
If you've made it this far on the podcast.
If you've made it this far, send an emoji of a poo.
No, it's a diamond. It's a diamond, bro.
No,
a diamond and a
people have
poo.
been doing that the whole time. A diamond... No. This is the specific emoji you need to send if you're still watching. A diamond, a poo, and that guy that goes like that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I love that because I'll be able to look at it in a few weeks after and I'll be able to see who legitimately watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
There'll just be like one person. It'd be my mum.
That'd be my
Poo.
mum.
Be our mums.
Yeah, my mum and dad.
Diamond.
Yeah, but they won't work out how to find those
How to
emojis,
do that face.
so
they'll do the poo diamond, but
they'll send other ones. Yeah. My mum will just send like a GIF.
Yeah.
Of like a cartoon dog with love hearts coming out of his chest.
I love
something
this
like
guy or something. I love my son.
Yeah.
I love my son.
That's what my mum will do.
She seems super proud of all you guys when I talk to her.
That totally is.
But I want to get to the bottom of and to bring us to the present
best
day.
story is yet to come.
The best story is yet to come.
Hang in there.
Wow, seriously, it's so worth it for you guys who've stuck around to the end. So worth it. So you Dawn Wanderers, and that was like, as you said, it's like it was just the music you wanted to fucking make. You sort of went in an opposite direction, and it in the way that the universe does, it's sort of just like cool when you're not trying as much. You're not focusing on the business side of things or the management. It sort of just has its own life.
Yeah, man.
And you've obviously dropped. You've got a couple of a couple of projects that you've dropped with Wanderers now. Yeah. And then you ended up in America.
Yeah, I mean a lot happened before that. A brief summary: we went to Europe and we did some show. I don't even know how the fuck this happened. Fucking so random. But we went and did the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Scotland.
In Scotland.
That's why you're wearing this hat.
I bought this at Lion and the Witch Vintage in Adelaide, so I can't claim that. But I saw it and I thought it was fucking cool, so I bought it. Or I bought it in Melbourne, I can't remember, but it's a dope fucking hat.
It's a good hat.
And it wasn't long after I got back from Scotland, so I did want to buy it.
Are you Scottish?
No, I've got I do have English heritage. I've got the Hamiltons. The Hamiltons is my mother's maiden name.
Right.
So I got Hamilton.
Any relation to the mattress?
Hamilton on one side, and I've got Stevenson with an SEN, so Scandinavian Vikings on the other side.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm a Viking pompous prick.
Love
basically.
It's a beautiful combination.
But yeah, we went to we had this bass player Ben Morris, and yeah, really fucking talented guy. His ear for music just is fucking groove. Yeah, insane. Yeah, crazy. A little bit older. He's got his own kind of life going on, that kind of stuff. But yeah, we had this tour come up, and he couldn't come, so Logan came on the tour, and it was really hard work. Like we played shows in Berlin and Amsterdam and a bunch of shows in London again. But a lot of it is carrying all your stuff on the fucking tube up. You've got your accommodation, your Airbnb, and you're carrying it upstairs and down. There's a lot of it, like, and I couldn't help it, like, the whole time it's kind of like, I don't think Benny would, it wouldn't be his vibe. It's like every time we were kind of on tour, he definitely would want to, get the nice accommodation, and it wasn't one for the couch surfing.
The rough
couch
living.
Surfing.
Yeah.
Whereas I was still, kind of ready for that. I think now.
Is it because Benny was a bit older as well?
Yeah,
he'd been through that.
So he's like, fuck that,
I've done it.
So for us, it was like we kind of needed to.
Exciting and
it was a little bit easier to kind of do it without him. So
that youthful energy.
Yeah, and once, we had a cool tour. Our last show was in Berlin in this fucking shipping container, and then me and Logan went out and had a proper Berlin club night.
Yeah.
We saw the sun come up in Berlin. And we saw some shit that night.
Yeah,
that's Berlin. Ja, das Berlin, das war so geil, das war sehr geil, sehr wunderbar. I like it over there.
Great impression. That was a great impression. Wunderbar.
Yeah.
I get confused around that area. I'm like, are they speaking German? Are they speaking?
No, Berlin, man.
Berlinian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Berlin. But we got back, and then I don't know. There's some other stuff going on, but we
successful though.
We decided to part ways with.
But what are the crowds? What are the crowds like when you're when you're doing these shows? You're getting good crowds. Like, what's the experience of like doing these shows?
Yeah, Berlin was cool because we did like a €40 PR campaign, and then fucking heaps of Aussies and Germans came out to see us. It was just this weird. It was only in the shipping container we could fit like 40 people. Like it was small. Wow. We were actually going to release the whole gig.
Oh yeah,
soon. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, we've got the whole thing mixed and footage.
Just
and everything.
sitting on it.
I'll show it to you sometime.
Please.
That's just trio, me, Logan, and Matt. That was the first time Logan learnt all the bass lines on keys, and he split his sound, so we had a bass sound and a key sound. Matt's on this tiny drum kit. There was this sound guy who was like, made a sound check for like 7 hours, and he was well, no, probably not 7 hours, but like, you know, it felt like a really long sound check, like 3 hours maybe, and he was like so dead set on how he wanted to do everything. It was so German.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was just so. This is how I'm going to show you the TV, and that's
so bitter.
I sound a bit more French in that.
Yeah, super French. What's it sound like inside a fucking shipping container? Not a bit tinny, or it's alright?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was a good gig though. All I know is that we ordered pizza and it never arrived, so we never got to eat before it, and we were fucking starving. And then we played for an hour and a half, and then then we fucking ate somewhere afterwards or whatever. Anticlimactic story. But we got back from Europe and then parted ways with the bass player, the original bass player Ben, who didn't come on that tour but was still part of the band.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think after that, then it was just kind of like, you know, us with our youthful energy or whatever. I don't know. I really don't want to knock the guy because he was such a big part of the process of everything. But also, it's somewhere along the way you gotta
make tough choices.
Yeah, you gotta make things like move forward progressively wherever things are at, and especially like I didn't want to keep doing that goddamn anything thing or even something for a distraction. Like I think, and yeah, I think he definitely was down with the kind of vision of where it was going, but not fully either. Like not to perhaps the visual extent and how much we might have to. Yeah, it's like okay, let's fuck with this. Like let's try some things. You know, you don't have someone there who's going to be complaining about every turn.
Yeah,
putting up speed humps all the time. You know, it's
no,
like
absolutely.
you got to give it a go.
And you've got so much experience
so
at this point. Like
it was hard. We fucking sat down at this cafe, and I was like, you know, he'd been part of the beginning of the band. We'd been in this together for like 3 or 4 years by that point. Yeah, just like he kind of caught it too. Like we were chatting, I was doing small talk, and he's like, "So,
what's going on?"
Yeah,
he knew what was going on.
Yeah, it was hard, man.
Yeah, well, he's been around the block a few times, hasn't he? So he's not.
Yeah,
his first rodeo.
It's never easy. So I've had to do that thing. I've been that guy, and I've been the guy to say something to that guy. So it's never a fun thing. But it's never really been resolved. We don't fucking hang out or anything, you know.
But eventually you're doing it for a purpose. You're doing it because you want to move forward.
Well, that then, you know, what is it? A year later, we do Off My Back. You know? And that was like that was the big turning point for us, I think. Or maybe it was even a couple of months later or whatever it was. I think we played the initial skeleton version of Off My Back. We played it on that European tour in Edinburgh. And we played it. We played it at a couple of different places, like really early. And even the chorus of the song, I remember I was singing this. The original chorus was like this. It was so fucking dumb. I was going like, dust to dust, you got me dancing at a funeral.
Right.
So it's meant to be.
So the guitar's there, but just like the hook is not quite.
You got me dancing at a funeral. It's meant to be about like when you're obliviously smiling your way through something completely horrible, like something that's just not going to end well. So it could be like you're in a bad relationship, but you're like, this is fucking fine.
It's big grin, yeah.
And so it's still a good concept. I still want to make a song about that at some point. Yeah. But that wasn't the right song.
Could be a good
so I'm fucking glad that wasn't still the chorus, but I think at that point that was it.
And you said Chris helped you with that.
Yeah, the lyrics at the very end. So like we written the whole song. We'd recorded the music. It was done. I'd fucking sang these lyrics. It was still about, by that point it was about the same thing that it ended up being about. Which I guess was just about that, like, you know, there's people that fucking try to rip the shirt off your back when you give it to them anyway.
Yeah.
Classic old tale.
Yeah.
But I was fucking just not getting it across well. I wasn't happy with what I was singing. I rewrote the lyrics like 3 times. The night before we sent it away for mixing, I was in with Lewis Wundenberg. By the way, Wundenberg's, it's the place.
Check him out.
Fucking go there. And I rewrote the lyrics again and sang them. So I went in there and sang them, and then I was like, still wasn't believing him. I was just like, this fucking shit. So then I was like I was texting Chris, and I called him, and I was texting him, and he was like at the Fringe, like on a date with Bree or whatever, and
right, Bree Transer, right, yeah,
doing his thing.
Check out Siberian Tiger, by the way.
So good.
You see the live video they just dropped today? They did that water.
I haven't checked it out yet.
It's really good. I showed it.
Yeah, no, we go way back, but yeah, and then he was like, I was being all like, yeah, you know, like this fucking, you're like, yeah, fucking. They're not you're doing all the shit for them, and they're like fucking not help. You know, they're not reciprocating, and blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, but isn't it nice that you love them that much that you would do that for them?
That's so sweet.
I was like, fuck off, Chris.
No, fuck you. You're right. Fuck you. You're right.
You for being right. You know, he just instantly flipped the whole song on its head to make it like, you know, change my idea of it to make it something that was positive. Like there could be a positive. I mean, there's still elements of the lyrics where there's a little bit of that balance of either in it. You know, where I'm kind of a little bit like fuck you. You know, like, you know, where you'll be treading water with the fishes and the fear that you might drown. Like, you know, that's
totally.
That's pretty dark. It's kind of saying like, yeah, you know, like if you don't do this, you might be, you know, I might leave you on your own, you know, to your own devices.
Absolutely.
Next time you need a hand from me. So there's a little bit of that in there. So it's kind of passive aggressive.
That's part of the story, though.
But the ultimate thing is that, like, you know, the last lyric of the song.
I would give it to you.
Is "I'm here to hold you," which Sam Britton jumped in there for that one, but it's like that. I think I probably told that same story actually to Sam, and I was trying to finish up the lyrics for the song, and I think he's like, why don't you make the last lyric "I'm here to hold you" instead of you know, I'd give it to you just like that or whatever. It's the same part of the song, but it's just like flips it into something a bit more positive just at the very end, you know.
Just tells a different tale.
Yeah, I'm here to hold you. It's like, just fucking don't stress about that bullshit, you know. I'm here to hold you.
Yeah, you don't need to be ripping the shirts off people's backs at the end of the day.
I'm here anyway.
I mean, I got that, to be honest, I got that from the chorus, like the whole idea of, you know, trying to rip the shirt off my back, I'd give it to you just like that. There is that like, you know, there's that juxtaposition of like, oh, it's fucking frustrating, people trying to fucking, like, you know, use you or whatever, or people, but they're not realising that I'm actually a giving fucking person, and I want people to succeed, I want people to win anyway. So like, I always read that. Well,
the chorus was always like that. That chorus was written for a long time.
Yeah.
But the verse lyrics were way more focusing on the negative outlook of that. You know, the first half of the chorus as opposed to the second half. And so Chris is the one who helped me focus on that more. I'd give it to you just like that, more that part of the lyric. Just with a few text messages that night, which was nice. And then I wrote the new lyrics and I recorded them and put them down, and then we were in Sydney the next day, and they weren't in my memory. They're my short term memory. So we went on a whole tour where I sang the old lyrics.
You didn't have the text message, or you could just like...
No, but I can't do that.
You got in the groove. It needs to be in there.
Yeah. And so we went on a whole tour where I sang the old lyrics.
Yeah.
And then...
it's that muscle memory almost, wasn't it, really, though?
Yeah. And then we got the first mix back, and I was like, what have I done? You know, I was so used to then singing it again the other way. I wouldn't be able to tell you what the fuck they were now. They're so gone from my brain. But... I had like a moment where I was like worried that I'd fucking ruined it or something, you know.
And then it turned out to be the biggest.
Very stoked, yeah.
It's the biggest song that you guys have released for Wanderers, right?
It's the biggest thing for us, yeah. In our little D grade.
D grade.
In our little D grade celebrity.
D grade celebrity, no. And that's a funny joke, but
you know, I think people have connected with it, and I think it's still a reason it's the main song kind of people come back to, and.
Dude.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most honest thing we've done so far.
I massively connect with that. And I think it's great to have a song out there for people that are like... I feel like I can resonate because I genuinely just like... It's just my disposition, like, and I've just always been that way. Like, I want to make people happy. You know, like, I want people to succeed, you know? Like, sometimes it feels like people are trying to tear people down, but I just feel like it's genuinely just who I am in my nature that, like, when people, like, are succeeding, I just perceive that as good.
Yeah.
Like I perceive that as good. I don't get that tall poppy syndrome of like, oh, that's going to affect me negatively because someone else is winning. I feel like,
that
cool.
should be the way it is.
You know, like you're doing well. People in the Adelaide scene are doing well. I think that just lifts the whole.
I used to be super whingy, man. Yeah. I used to be like, why the fuck did they get that gig? And why are they playing at that festival? You know, why is that? Why am I?
But you were young, man, as well. Like you were in it young.
That wasn't that long ago.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, so Sian could tell some stories, but like, you know, it's after a while, it's like, yeah, you just gotta be happy.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much out there. It's like what, some fucking. Because, like, what is... If one band gets everything, everyone's going to complain about that, too.
Of course.
And there isn't one band that's better than everyone else, or that's writing better, or performing better, or doing whatever. I get that way with trivial bullshit. I get that way with the Sam Awards, you know, with the SA Music Awards.
Oh, I feel that.
I fucking got one floating around there somewhere.
Yeah, it was used to be over here.
I think it's in my front room now, but...
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, well, why aren't we nominated for the fucking, you know, those categories or whatever? It's like, oh, because you didn't actually release an album this year.
Yeah.
You released a single.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You know.
Yeah.
Bad Dreams deserved it. Or, you know.
Take the medicine.
West Theberton or whatever, like, shut the fuck up.
Brothel Party.
Yeah, well, that was...
Right.
Dude, I saw their first ever gig, man. And I'm...
Really?
And I've become good friends with, like Josh is, like, my amp guy. Horror, my friend, and West Theberton. But the point is, I remember those fucking guys, like Horror My Friend, when they were like young dudes on the scene. Well, who the fuck are these guys? You know?
And Tommy Gordon's off in fucking... He's moved to Wollongong now, isn't he?
Yeah, but I thought they were just trying to be like a poor man's British India or something like that. No, maybe they were for a moment in time, but they're such an example of like, they just took it somewhere else, man. Like, they fucking grew and changed, and the first West Thebby gig was awful. Well, the first one I saw.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I saw them at maybe they did a few gigs before that or not. I'm not sure. I don't want to claim that I know the history of that band, but
yeah. But the first one
I first saw them at Matt Hill's Hillside Fest. He did a music festival. No, like they killed it, but like in this way that was just like it was a joke.
Yeah.
Like they just fucking thrashed out and didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like. They still,
that seems like their vibe.
They've still got an element of that about them, but what like they've
refined.
They've kept that about them, but they've refined the fuck out of it.
Yeah,
in a way that's
you saw a
like,
raw
it's
version.
Not a joke.
Of it.
Like they take that shit seriously. They're writing fucking good songs.
Oh yeah,
and they're writing fucking heavy riffs, like dope riffs. They're hooking in. At one point, it was probably a little bit more jammy, but. I had that the guy standing back there going, the fuck are these guys, you know. So even when they started doing well, I kind of still had that, like, who the fuck are these guys thing? And like, I saw them, they were fucking shit, you know, like, I was that guy.
Yeah.
Whinging about them doing well. And I was wrong, man. And you're always fucking wrong. You're always wrong when you have that that stance. If something's doing well, and it's organic, and it's not some fucking... They are not some machine-made thing. It's not some record label saying, these guys are good, you have to listen to them.
It's real growth. It's real
fucking growth. Yeah, that's real growth. If it's real growth, the people don't lie.
Don't underestimate the fucking real growth.
I saw them... The first time that I changed my mind about all that was I saw them at Big Sound when I was over there with Skies or something. I can't remember, but in Brisbane. And they fucking tore it up. Like, they just...
Phenomenal.
He's fucking climbing over the fucking walls and climbing up the bar and just like
Eddie Vedder top shit.
Oh, just you can't grow, you can't breed a front man like that. Like you can't teach someone to do that.
No, and it's
and the whole band, they're fucking like their dynamic of how they all sit with each other. And it's that group of mates that are killing it.
It's real chemistry,
doing their thing. And
you gotta respect that, don't you?
And then again, I saw him at Fool's Festival in Lorne. And that's them on the main stage, you know, and it's earlier in the day, like they didn't have that whole oval full of people, but they had, you know, they would have had like maybe 2,000 people or something watching them, and it was
just killed it.
Yeah, that was when I was like really proud, you know, and I was annoyed that I at any point, because it means that I saw something in its
infancy
and judged it, which isn't fair.
I've
I've been guilty of that.
I mean, I feel like, and we'll probably try and wrap this up pretty soon, I suppose, because we've been going for fucking ages. But I feel like I've even experienced that as not to waffle on about myself too much, but I feel like I've experienced that because I feel like when I was like younger, like still living in Puri, writing songs and stuff, like I always had this understanding of like maybe not where I was right now, but where I could be. Like I felt like I understood my potential. I understood it was way bigger than what anyone else could conceive of.
Yeah.
Like everyone else around me was just taking that surface level understanding, seeing where I was now, and that was a big part of like. When I moved to this city, it's like cool. Like everyone knows my fucked up history in Port Pirie. Like everyone knows all the stupid shit I've done. Everyone knows like the fucking idiot, like, the teenage idiot who made all the mistakes. But then I was able to come to the city, and people could see me for like the evolution that I'd had, and they're like, cool. I'm seeing you for where you're at now.
That's like me in America, man.
Yeah, you felt that?
Well, yeah, just nice.
Well, no one knows about the fucking.
No one knows about that. No one knows about the gigs that you haven't rocked up to, or the people the people you've pissed off.
They just see where you're at.
The mistakes you've made in your calendar, or that kind of shit. The idea
refreshing, man.
The idea of a fresh start is good, and also bad.
You got to be connected to those roots.
Because there is some amount of
because that's still you. That dude is still you.
Well, it was not to say you're stuck with that, but there's some amount of escapism in not. Following through with changing that image. Starting somewhere else, you can go, okay, well, I can trick them into thinking I'm this or
whatever I want. Yeah.
I'm not saying you've done that.
No, of course. Well, there's some people.
I think in your case, it's definitely coincided with personal growth existing anyway.
Absolutely.
Perhaps that they weren't seeing, and it is sometimes. And I found it, like I'm not complaining too much. I mean, Adelaide's a small place. You do a certain amount of things, and people hear about it, and every bit earn the reputation you have. But fuck, I don't even know what I'm saying about that. But it's just there is something therapeutic.
You're talking about your
being able to like actually grow from that.
Well, you're talking about going to America,
prove yourself, and then also once you get over somewhere else, you don't even have those strings attached. So you have grown, you have proven yourself. In your hometown, it takes a little while for that to catch up.
Yeah, it's a bit harder.
Those ripples to catch, but they will. Things will be forgotten and things will change. But when you go somewhere else, that shit doesn't exist at all.
No, they take you on.
So if you've started that
face value,
the only time that's bad is if you haven't tried to grow, you've just tried to escape.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a difference between reinventing yourself because like you want to like grow and you want and like people are so attached to the history that you're not enabled that growth. Like I feel like in my hometown, it's a small town, it was hard for me to break out of like the negative connotations that people had about me. And, people knew about drugs I did and stuff, and shit just spreads around. Like even the fact that I smoke weed and stuff like that, it creates this tainted idea of who you are.
Different now.
Yeah, right. Right. But people just have this idea of who you are, and for me, it wasn't going to Adelaide to escape that. It was to position myself so that people could possibly like re-understand see the evolution I have done. Because I felt like I was constantly growing and people weren't able to witness that because they were so attached to the history. And sometimes it's really good to just experience being someone new so that people just take you on because it allows you to even.
But then it's not from a place of avoidance. Then it's from a place of
discovery and
growth. Yeah. So it's if the right intentions exist.
It all comes down to intention. Yeah,
intention is the thing at the end of the day, isn't it? Probably for everything we've talked about. The only thing that matters at the end of all of it is the intention that you had.
Whoa.
Because perception versus intention, and intention's always going to conquer. Surely that's what's going to last.
Because intention is truth.
Perception is,
isn't it?
Perception is like a thing that lasts in a moment, and that's it.
Yeah. And then those people go off and they do their own thing. They don't really care.
Perception is projection.
Fucking hell. All right, look. Let's finish this piece.
Done yet.
I want you to play a song though.
No, we haven't even talked about America yet.
Well, let's do it then. I don't know if that was for round 2 or not.
No, we're doing round 2
I mean, you've already missed your fucking appointment.
Yeah,
so
we're going right through. We're doing round 2.
Well, I want to know then. I definitely want to know then. Maybe first speak on how you were able to reinvent yourself in LA and how that felt for you going to LA.
Yeah, we don't have to end it.
With all the tools.
No, because I fucking missed this thing, so let's just fucking...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not ending it.
I'm
not ending it then. I'll go for a record.
3 parts.
I'm going for a record. No, we're doing all 3 parts in one. You've already missed.
You're gonna do a 3.
I've got nothing to do.
No, but you can cut it up afterwards.
No, I'm not cutting it up. I'm not cutting it up.
No, you
I'm gonna launch it. I'm gonna fucking launch it.
We're gonna fucking. We break up.
This is brilliant.
The better half of a bottle of gin.
This is too good. We got some more tonic water.
Alright.
I'm having a good old time, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Righto.
Alright, so to continue on from that conversation, what was that experience for you as far as like someone who's had a lot of fucking growth? Because from the story you've told me, there's been a lot of evolution that's been happening and a lot of lessons in that. So how was that for you going to like LA and then people perceiving you from where you're at now as far as opposed to knowing a history, just taking on face value? Was that like super refreshing and interesting to see like, cool, this is the perception of me just based on like where I'm at right now?
Oh yeah. Well, it's they're only basing it on the music they've heard you do or the performance they just saw, or whatever. I don't know. That whole thing was just a spin out, man. And so,
how did it come about? Just maybe to start.
I started. I guess since the fucking days of Fab 4 and whatnot, like I've never been opposed to the idea of covers. Mm-hmm. I know that's like a dirty word in some of the, you know, the world of songwriters and original musicians and creatives in general. Like if you're copying others, there's copying, but then there's kind of recreating or reinterpreting or whatever. It's not, for me, it was loving. It was a part of how I fucking learnt, man. Like totally. I learnt to play by ear, by literally listening to records of Led Zeppelin. Yeah. And trying to slow it down and work out what the fuck Jimmy Page was playing.
But you know, everyone's doing this start off at a point. Is like looking at stuff that they have been influenced by loving and trying to recreate it.
Yeah, so
I did the same thing.
Somewhere along the way, that becomes not okay. Mm-hmm. What people end up doing is repackaging it, doing their own version of what that sounds like, calling it their original music and thinking they're cool. And so I guess somewhere, like I've always been writing songs and kind of also existed in this world of, I mean, also because I worked out I could sustain a
career,
financial career, you know, support a family and I've got a daughter and I've got a family and I've got all that shit.
Yeah, you're a muso dad.
A muso dad. So it's like, the fucking, dude, singing off my back doesn't pay for daycare.
Yeah.
It doesn't, man.
Yeah.
You know, but singing Wonderwall does.
Shout out.
No.
Wonderwall fans.
Thank you, Oasis.
But isn't like, I like someone was saying like the idea of like, you know, you doing a cover and it's not just some like half-assed dude who doesn't, like someone who's had a career, someone who's like really fucking loves music and who has spent so much time. But isn't like you doing a Chris Cornell cover, someone else that you fucking adore, isn't that like paying homage and like extending the life? That's not extending the life of that artist. Like.
Well, that's not sitting under a TV in a corner playing to the back of people's heads.
Right.
You know, that's like the what I guess, you know, I've done that sort of stuff, you know, to, you know, strictly for, hey, this is $100 an hour. I'm going to sit here and do this because the money's good and no one gives a fuck.
And you can have a living off of it.
Yeah, the double-edged sword is that it's pokey revenue and the fucking rebel in me wants to say fuck you and not do that.
Yeah.
But also the father in me is like, no, I got to do this. So, you know, you got to fucking do that. But, you know, I don't sit there and fucking play Ed Sheeran songs for 3 hours. Like, I do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, you play.
Get away with it.
I saw one of the gigs that you did, like, for the Adelaide City, and you're just having a bit of fun playing songs that you love.
It's all good. But the cover this it's weird that a cover is kind of what led me to going to America, but I did Betty Davis Eyes with the Huntley Street Country Club. And I remember seeing that song on the movie Duets when I was a kid, and it's this movie about like these people that take karaoke really seriously, and they go all around like Nevada, Las Vegas kind of area, going to those karaoke competitions. There's this one guy, he's like this fucking business guy, and he's like driving, and he like gets his ear pierced, and he's like he leaves his family, and he just like starts just hoofing it down, you know, past
Gets
Arizona.
Gets his ear pierced and fucks off out of home.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, like, he just buys a fucking good car and just, like, fucking goes. And then there's, this black guy, like, is a hitchhiker and he picks him up along the way.
It's not Into the Wild.
And this guy was intending to rob him. Yeah. And then they end up realizing they both have a love for karaoke. Like, they go to this bar that's doing karaoke and they get up and they start singing. This movie's fucking dope. Like,
what's it called?
It's called Duets, and it's not known as like a movie to see. And Gwyneth Paltrow stars in it. Huey Lewis is in it, and so there's this scene, and they do like let me think about it. Big girls go away, young girls times they do get weary, wearing the same old baggy dress. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know the song? And when they get weary, try a little tenderness. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, oh yeah.
Ooh, cool song.
Got to squeeze her, don't tease her, never leave her. You got to. Try a little tenderness.
Oh yeah, now I'm getting it. Now I'm getting it.
You got to squeeze her, don't tease her, never leave her. You got to oh.
No, I've heard that song.
This scene, so that's an Otis Redding song, Try a Little Tenderness. But there's a scene, and I can't remember the name, the main actor in it, but like I don't know, he's fucking iconic. He was just in all those films in the 90s, and there's this scene where he does that, and that's that guy that was meant to rob him in the car, but they just become friends.
Yeah, right, through music.
So that guy, was rubbing up the freeway to sustain his existence, but he didn't know how to drive. He taught him how to drive.
Right.
Then they did this karaoke thing. They end up... Basically, it's the story of all these four people, 4 or 5 different groups of people that like have their own little lives, and they all end up in the grand final of this karaoke competition in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Love that.
And
so you're following these 4 individual storylines.
And so one of them is like Gwyneth Paltrow. She's like the daughter of this guy who's Huey Lewis from Huey Lewis and the News, and he's not like that's the guy.
That's the actual
the actual guy, but like his character isn't that. But
yeah,
he's basically a shitty father.
Yeah,
and she's trying to connect with him because she's at an age where she
wants to connect with her dad.
She's like able to go out there and she's 21 or whatever. And so there's a scene in it where he's like, oh fuck, like she's worked up and he's like, oh fuck, it's like it's fucked up his shit. But Gwyneth Paltrow's there, and then he sees her. She gets up at this karaoke competition and sings Betty Davis Eyes. And that's my first memory of the song Betty Davis Eyes. And she's like, I just remember watching that like, fuck, that's a dope song. Fuck me, it's a good song. Like
when you were doing that gig, like by the fireplace in the city when me and Jenna rocked up, that was the song that you were playing when we actually
just the riff, man.
And she loves that song.
Her hair is hollow gold. Lips a sweet surprise. Her hands are never cold. She's got Betty Davis eyes. Play the music on. You won't have to think twice. As pure as New York snow. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll tease you, she'll unease you. All the bitter just to please you. She's ferocious, and she knows just what it takes to make it progress. She's got a couple stand-up sides. She's got Betty Davis eyes.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Right, so that song, fucking random ass song,
but just something that's like rooted in who you are.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't until I started jamming. Like the idea, the song came into my head. I was jamming with Wanderers. We had to do this Woodford Folk Festival. We jammed it as a cover. Like I wanted to pull out one cover. So we had 5 gigs at this festival. I wanted to pull out one different cover at every gig, just for fun. And I think one of them was Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Yeah, great.
Betty Davis Eyes. We did this Paul McCartney song. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Yeah, and we did this. That's Let Him In. It's called. And we did this Jealous Guy, John Lennon cover, and I think there was always a different cover that we chucked in every set just to keep it different for the crowd. But one was Betty Davis Eyes, and then we my friend Con wrote to me about the Huntley Street Country Club stuff he had going and I was like, dude, I want to do Betty Davis Eyes. And we came up with this arrangement. I did this slide solo and did all this stuff. We just put it up and we fucking recorded it, put it up, and the fucking guy who produced and co-wrote that song and won like 4 Grammys for it in 1983 saw it and just slid into my DMs like some girl who's just seen you do a gig.
Yeah, right. Right on in.
Just
no apprehensions. I'm here now.
Literally, the first message is, "Are you signed?"
Wow.
Question mark. No introduction. Are you signed? Question mark.
Interesting.
And I go, no, I'm just, doing my thing. Here's my band. Probably send him a link to Wanderers or whatever. It's like, I really like the version. I really like what you did with my song. That's what he wrote.
My song.
This is like, I got back.
That must be so surreal.
It's like 6 a.m.
He's talking about his song.
I've gotten back from a night out at like Rocket Bar or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
some rooftop vibes.
Fuck, cool. And I'm talking to this guy. He's like, we should Skype sometime. I give him my email address. The same thing happened like a couple of nights later. And I'd gotten back, and it's like, I remember because I'd had a shower, and I'd gotten back into bed, and I was like, topless, and I was just drunk in bed.
Rinsed.
Yeah, and my iPad started making this weird noise I didn't recognize, and it was a Skype call.
Yeah, right.
And in my half asleep state, I just
answered it. Nice.
So I'm topless in bed.
Yeah.
And there he is.
Right.
Val Garay.
The man.
Yeah, and so he did Bonnie Tyler records, James Taylor.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. So we were chatting, and the original idea was that he wanted me to come over and record Betty Davis Eyes with the original people who played on the track, and like do like my version of it. 'Cause
right.
He said my version is the best he's ever heard, and
wow.
He's like, Lady Gaga did it, and Gwyneth Paltrow did it, and yours is my favorite, and it was really flattering.
Wow.
Which, I mean, yeah, that's awesome, but also...
it means something coming from him. Like, it's not just like some random person saying it.
It kind of does, but also there's like there's something I worked out after a little while of, even just about being in LA. Like, just going there and witnessing it, it's like, a lot of people kind of talk like that.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not bullshitting.
This is the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there is something...
They get super excited
there's
about
something quite LA about it, but the main thing is that it sparked me to go, I've got to get over there. So the next day I bought tickets to Los Angeles for myself, by myself. And I was just like, I'm going to go for the whole, must have been in January or February or something last year. And then I was like, I'm just going to go for the whole of October. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to work it out. I'm going to see this guy at some point. He wants to hang out. Okay, that's good.
That's one appointment.
We played a show with these Calexico guys. Like, they're in Austin. And, like, they might want to hang out. Or maybe I'll go over there and I'll do some stuff. That'll be cool. And then, a few months went past and I had my plane tickets bought and that's it. And then somewhere along the way, Sian's like, an opportunity's popped up for Wanderers to do a showcase in New York in October while you're there.
Right.
Like, well, you can hijack the middle of my trip. That's fine. So then Wanderers hijacked the middle of my trip, and then it just fucking went.
Snowballed.
It just went. And so the catalyst for me getting there was this Betty Davis Eyes song. But then that really became, once I was there, that was like a side story, man. That was like, it wasn't the main thing for the trip at all. And, I wrote to my friend Keith, who's over there. He's done really well with a band called Atlas Genius. And they had...
Adelaide?
They're Adelaide dudes from Victor Harbour. I mean, we were doing the same circuit of cover gigs back in the day. They had Harry Lemon, and I was doing all these other bands, and they would put me up, man, big time. And they collaborate on the Kooks records and that kind of shit. And Keith, their song was on FIFA. They've been on Kimmel and Letterman, and they're all just wicked. They've done it, and the crazy thing is that you never hear about it here. Like, they're not, you hear about TK Meidzer and you hear about the bands that are still here, but the bands that fucked off, you don't hear about.
Aussie bands.
They are arguably one of our biggest exports of the last, not even arguably, they are one of our biggest exports.
And you wouldn't know.
The last 10 years, and you wouldn't know. Well, the average person wouldn't know.
Yeah,
But so they're doing...
whatever they want, basically.
But over in America, they're doing... Like, they've got their... I'm staying with them, seeing their operation a little bit, and they've got their... Like, stock cage with all they've got their own PA system they have to tour with. They've got their people. They've got their team. They've got their label. they've done really well in that like indie kind of scene over there, like doing those kind of, I don't know, 1,000 head kind of venues, or but they would come to Australia and struggle to sell Rocket Bar. It's just
crazy.
It's a bizarre kind of thing. But yeah. So I was staying with them, and they were kind of introducing me to people. And Keith was like, "Oh, this is my friend Brooklyn." And it's like, "Oh, cool. Hi, I'm Dusty." It's like, "Oh, hi, I'm Brooklyn Orman." It's like, "Oh, like Orman, like kind of." It's like, "Oh yeah, my dad was Greg Orman. He was in the Orman Brothers." And it's like, "Oh, the Orman Brothers." Like, yeah. I was like, does that mean your dad was married to Cher? It's like, yeah, Cher's my stepmom. It's like, okay, cool.
Okay,
yeah, and then
establish that.
So we fucking co-write some stuff, and then
God.
But that's just like how, I don't know, it's kind of standard shit over there. It's just like how it goes. You
I mean,
fucking walk in, it's like, oh, there's Billy Gibbons eating dinner at the fucking Mexican restaurant, or whatever's going on. And so that was all happening already. I had my own kind of, my friend Danny came over, and we got to, Danny, the guy from the fucking Lion that night, he was on drums. He came, we hung out in LA, and that was really cool. I was really sick. I'm actually slightly convinced that I may have had coronavirus in October last year.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dude, like all the symptoms were the same.
Yeah.
Like I had the fucking respiratory shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I gave it to Michael, and he thought the same thing. The drummer of Atlas Genius, he was like, yeah, no, I did too. And so, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, why not?
Who knows? And yeah, but they.
So you're carving your own path.
We're
like
doing my own thing, and then at some point the band lands, and they pick me up. We go to San Francisco. We get our shit stolen.
Oh fuck.
But we were kind of doing this random circuit of gigs. We did a bunch of Sofa Sounds. But then we went to New York. We did this showcase in New York, and then and that's kind of when shit got exciting. There's the fucking guy at this gig, and he's like produced he's the guy who mixed Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you use. And I know, like, the guy that mixed that random song from the 90s probably isn't a huge thing. Mm-hmm. But it's just a super random thing to kind of happen or to come into contact with. And he was working with Michael McDonald at the time, and we're big Doobie Brothers fans. And just kind of all these people. And he bought our socks, and he was loving our music. And we've Skyped a bunch of times since, and he was really cool. Yeah, he was like, wearing our fucking socks. We got socks, man. We got socks.
That's sick. I need to get pairs of those socks.
But we did this gig in New York, this showcase gig, and everyone was really nice, and there was a vibe happening. And I was like, this is it. This is our new place. We've got to fucking play here. And then we have to go back to LA. The others are going home, and I was still going to hang out in LA for another 10 days. Mm-hmm. And Sian's like, okay, we're going to go to Dave Grohl's studio, like Studio 606.
Yeah, right.
Oh, cool. Like, what, you got some connections or something? She's like, I've hooked something up. Like, okay, all right, cool. I'm thinking we're just getting a sweet tour of his studio. Yeah. Which is where they've got the Sound City desk, which Fleetwood Mac did Rumours on, and Tom Petty did Damn Torpedoes, and Bruce Springsteen did a bunch of stuff, and Nirvana did Nevermind on that fucking desk, man. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. So we fucking go there, we drive up, the gates slide open, we go in, this fucking guy, guy Martin Gigi, really super nice guy, and he welcomes us, and he's like, he knew all about everything that happened to us so far in America, so he's like, you made it, you came here, you got your stuff stolen in San Fran, you went to New York, you conquered, you played in Washington, you played in Portland, you worked your way down, you're back here, and now you're here with us at Studio 606. Welcome. And he like gave us a hug.
Loving.
And like walked us in, and I was like, this is so awesome. Yeah, we walk in, there's like these fucking wicked pinball machines everywhere. You go through the door, and there's the fucking hallway. It's just gold records. It's just, but not even that. It's just like pictures and like there's like Nirvana,
memories,
but everything that Dave Grohl's ever been involved with. So it's like Tenacious D, Queens of Stone Age,
that alone
Nirvana.
Is a fucking
It's unreal. And then you walk through, like, so we basically got a tour of the place. We got to see the warehouse where they got all the food, like all these guitars and all the drum kits, and I'm going, oh, that's Dave Grohl's #1 Trini Lopez, like there,
right there. I'm looking at it. Yeah.
I didn't have the guts to pick it up and play it, but it was there.
Yeah.
And so that was enough for me. I was like, that's exciting. We got a tour of, and then we finished the thing, and the most LA thing ever happened, which was Martin finished the tour and said, so, do you want to make a record here?
Right, so casual.
And we're like, yeah, sure, but like as if we could afford that shit. And he's like, oh no, like the finance guys at the label are are really keen on the project. And I'm like, wait,
what's going on here?
What are we talking about? Yeah. And yeah, at the end, our manager had fucking had these discussions we didn't even know about with this label, and they were really excited about the band. And it just sucks to talk about because now I know it's not happening at the moment. So it's like, it's exciting stuff.
But it doesn't take away from the actual
fucking... Basically, it's like, this label was like, Pacific... the label really like our music and they really want to work with us and they really want us to make a record. They wanted us to make it at that Studio 606, and we were meant to do it in July.
Yeah.
Had it not been for coronavirus, that would have happened. And even if it weren't in July, like it would be around now. Like I would be immersed in that probably at the moment. So it's a bit of a bummer, but you push forward and we're still talking to him. We're still doing some stuff. But yeah, that was and then me and that Martin guy, he's over in West Hills, like past West Hollywood, kind of towards Topanga, like as if you're heading towards Arizona or something. And he's, where he lives is like Will Smith's a couple of blocks over, and so then I went and hung out with him for a while, and that was
Will Smith.
No, not with Will Smith. But, no,
I was like, shit.
I hung out with Martin and just. The people
whole...
he knows and that area, and then that's when it's like, as soon as I start talking about this, I feel like a wanker because it's just name dropping. But like, there was a lot of fucking shit that.
But is it name dropping or is it telling the actual story to?
No, yeah. But it's like it seems like telling an unnecessary story because it doesn't matter who the names are.
But dude, you're on Talk of Yorke, bro. The whole point is to tell the story.
True. But like you're suddenly in a room with Chad Smith and the guys from Robbie Krieger from The Doors.
The fuck?
Different actors. Dennis Quaid, for whatever reason.
He just rolls in.
This guy, Patrick Warburton. I got on really well with this guy, Patrick Warburton. I was like talking to him. I was like, I recognize this guy's face and his voice. And he's like, oh yeah, so do you watch Family Guy? It's like, yeah. He's like, oh, I do the voice of Joe Swanson.
Yeah, right. No shit.
And he was like in Seinfeld. He was just like, he did this guy.
Mind fuck, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just, and we were sitting there drinking and talking about Eddie Vedder for a while, and I don't know. That was all because of Martin, and Martin had a lot of respect from all those people. They all spoke really highly of him. The next night, he took me out to an open mic. I was gonna get up and jam with these guys, and it didn't work out. But if it did, I would have been jamming with the guitarist of Wings and Joe Cocker's keyboardist and the drummer of Genesis or whoever. No, that would have been Phil Collins, but no, it wasn't Phil Collins. But but the horn section was the E Street band horn section at one point. Like at one point, all of them were in Bruce Springsteen's band, and so it's like I didn't actually end up getting up and jamming with them. So the story's not that cool, but I did hang with them and talk with them a little bit. But the point is, when I was there and I was talking to them, I was meeting these guys. Like Martin was there, like really, like selling me as this guy who gets it, and that was the first time where I'm like, this guy, I'm on the other side of the world, and this guy hears my music in a way that no one has ever heard it in Australia. Like no one's ever, like people have, like no one ever who's a music aficionado or like in the industry or in the scene at a higher up level has ever been like, dude, I get what's going on. I hear it. Yeah. I get it. And so that was like this real, almost emotional thing for me. So with this guy Martin, who's fucking worked with everyone ever, and he's talking to someone else about me as if I'm a guy who gets it, who's doing something that they want to know about. And so that's when it was like a real exciting thing that it was like, oh cool, like I'm not gonna have to. My next year isn't gonna be flipping out about whether Richie Kingsmill was going to like our music or not. Yeah. Like it was kind of a weight off the shoulders. Like, oh, he's got my back. These people have my back. Our back. Like the whole band. Like the whole thing. And it was nice that someone got it.
Totally.
Of course. We still talk every now and then.
And not that you were looking for validation.
We're still going to work together, but he's going to produce the record supposedly. Yeah.
Well, look, man.
Yeah, it's all hearsay at the moment, and it's until we fucking... Everything's had to go back to the drawing board now because we were definitely working on signing a deal and working something out. And now it's kind of back to, well, let's see what we can do because we want to release music over there still, but we can't actually go there and tour. So we'll do our best to
But I mean, just
do what we can.
Just the fact that like you got to just be around these people, and like you said, people who fucking got what you were doing and understood like where you're at and like the journey and what you're trying to create. Like that's fucking huge. Like, that's just something so many people probably never get to experience.
But it depends where you allow yourself to be geographically.
Yeah.
And if you're only stuck to one place, you are only going to reach the perimeters that place allows.
Totally.
You reach the ceiling in Adelaide and you become that level of, oh, cool, we've got rotation on Triple J or whatever. You reach the ceiling. I mean, there's no ceiling in LA to begin with. But if you do get close to the top of it, like your life is set. You know, and that's just financially, but creatively too. You've got access to the world, and so that just kind of was an invigorating thing to witness, to be around. I guess the accessibility of that, it's fucking there. Everything's at your fingertips. All of it's there.
But just even the idea that like you now know that like you can mix in with like that crowd, mix in with that crew, like you don't need to. There's no second guessing on that anymore. Like you know that you could go back there in the future,
a bit more,
and you could still mix in into that same crowd. Like you know that's been proved now.
True. No, that's very correct.
You know, like you've made it to that point, which is.
I just hope that it's still fucking there.
Yeah.
Because right now it's kind of looking like.
But everyone's fucked, man.
Like that's America's gonna be some dystopian Mad Max kind of fucking place. Like nothing exists. Oh my god, is that hit 4 hours? That's not real.
That's not real, dude. That's not real. I don't think we kicked off until about like 12:30.
Even if we did.
Fuck. It's about 3:48.
This is you're gonna have to make this into multiple parts.
Nah, one big banger. Check it out.
How does it take that long to tell my story? You know my story.
Bro, the bloke who ends up mixing it at Dave Grohl's studio, cutting a record at Dave Grohl's studio, has a story. It takes a couple of hours, bro, to tell that fucking how do you get to that point.
Yeah.
You're not some overnight. But this is what's great. You're not some overnight success story, and you've actually made fucking moves to go that opposite way. Like you could have leaned into that. You could have gone, cool. Here's an opportunity with Sony to just just appease this industry and just I know that I might have some level of overnight success and I'll blow up or whatever. But you've always had that integrity, man. And I think it's the journey, which is the tougher journey, seems to be the most rewarding. That just
the road less travelled,
right?
Is that the thing or
That's the road less travelled. That's what you've been walking, dude. You've been walking that road.
Whatever it is, it's the thing. It's all good though.
Dude, you and this is obviously from someone who's like still trying to get some level of establishment at the start. What you've done is fucking inspirational.
Cheers, bro.
What you've done is fucking massively fucking inspirational, bro. Like honestly, like if the Dave Grohl thing never happens and all these amazing things that have never happened because of all this fucking pandemic and shit, dude, just take solace in the fact that fuck, man. At least for me, man, like that journey, like you've got a story now that's going to like feed through to multiple generations onward, man. And
maybe they'll know the story because of this, so that's good.
So if he's going to get 100 views on YouTube.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be my mum. Just 98 of them, I reckon.
Just banging it out, eh? Well, maybe 200 because my mum might do the same thing.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the other two would probably be us just making sure we didn't say anything stupid.
Yeah, nah, fuck that.
We probably did. We probably did say stupid things.
But yeah, I will just say, dude,
it's been real.
It's been so fucking real. And what you've achieved is fucking like phenomenal, man. And like hearing the story and how you've gone about it, it's no stroke of luck, it's just hard work and sticking to your guns and I fucking respect that massively, bro. I think you've done an amazing thing and yeah, you're always gonna you've built something for yourself here. You've built a legacy, I think, and
I'll give it a go. I'll keep pushing.
And all I can hope for is that you just keep playing music, bro. Shall we finish up with a song?
Yeah, I'm going to play a song called Gravedigger that I wrote about trying to get the fuck out of Adelaide. That was
very appropriate.
But it comes back around in this kind of Wizard of Oz way where there's no place like home as well, so you want to get the fuck out and find that ceiling that's a little bit higher or find that place that's a bit more boundless, but you also want to go back to the place that taught you everything in the first place. So that's what this song is. I'm going to play it for you right now. I'm done waiting for the setting sun to wake me up when the day is done. It's hotter than an oven in this burned out town. I'd quit my job if I could hold one down. I haven't met anybody hard to meet. Don't have the stories like the neighbors tell across the street. I can see the changing in the color of the leaves. That's about all this town achieves. I wanna be more than a stone in a yard where the flowers disappear as the soil gets hard. Won't the grave digger come and rescue me? Won't the grave digger come and rescue me? Spent a cent of the money I've earned. I haven't taken notes from the lessons I've learned. And I keep fucking up in the same old way. I don't wanna be like this for the rest of my days. I wanna be more than a stone in a yard where the flowers disappear as the soil gets hard. Won't the grave digger come and rescue me? Won't the grave digger come and rescue me? Yeah. I wanna be more than a stone in a yard where the flowers disappear, the soil gets hard. Won't the grave digger come and rescue me? 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 Oh, won't the grave digger come and rescue me? Oh, won't the grave digger come and rescue me? If I ever leave, you know it won't take long. I'll be clicking my heels, ruby slippers on. Back to the oven, back to the leaves. 'Cause nothing ever changes in the ocean breeze.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is that a new one?
No, it's a bit old. A little bit old.
That song's fucking beautiful.
Thanks, man. Party on, Wayne.
Thank you.
Party on Garth?
Party on Garth, my brother. Party on Garth. And with that, thank you so much. Dusty Lee Stevenson. Go check his shit out, man. He's got so much music out there. And just thank you so much for coming on Talk with Yorke. He's a fucking menace. He'll never change. And I'm glad about that. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, 78 Degrees Gin.
Love gang.